willing to wait a lifetime, baby, until I met the one. Lying here next to you, I know my search is done. Passion is in your eyes, I feel the same way too. And all we have to give, we'll share this whole night through. Step right out of my dream. You fell right into my heart. Understanding all your whispers, though you never say a word. A fever burning in our souls from a storm that we stir. Fingers softly through your hair, your lips, they are so tender. Try to make this moment last. You're breathless in surrender. You stepped right out of my dream. You fell right into my heart. Don't wake me up, no. I wanna live in here forever. With you in my world, I never gonna let you go. For you, when times get tough, I'll hold you when you cry. Our hearts in perfect sync, dancing through the night. You stepped right out of my dream. Fell right into my heart. Right into my heart. You stepped right out of my dream.
The third round of the Belt Car Show will be this Saturday, August 19th from 10 till 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
It'll be a classic Ford Lincoln 1775 East Dixon Boulevard, Shelby.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Hi, I'm Calvin Hastings. I want to invite you to join the boss as we broadcast live during round 3 of the Belt Car Show at Classic Ford Lincoln in Shelby. We'll be there with free hot dogs, chips, and soft drinks. Plus, register to win some great prizes, including Southern Women's Show tickets, free rounds of golf, Hickory Crawdad tickets, T-shirts, and more. And check out the great deals like 0% financing for 72 months, plus $1,000 trade assistance cash. Come into Classic Ford Lincoln in Shelby for all the details. So plan out to be there this Saturday, August 19th, 10 till 2 for the third round of the Belt Car Show at Classic Ford Lincoln, 1775 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. Kimbrell's Furniture in Shelby presents Customer Appreciation Day this Saturday, August 19th. There will be free food, drinks, and snacks from noon till 2. Pelican Snowballs will be there, along with a bouncy house for the kids. And during this special event, take an extra 30% off. And check out the sidewalk sale with even bigger savings of up to 70% off on pre-owned and discontinued merchandise. And donate your school supplies, and Kimbrell's will match it. This Saturday, August 19th, Customer Appreciation Day at Kimbrell's Furniture, 300 West Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. A visit to Hometown Hardware in downtown Kings Mountain will help you take care of the creatures working in your home and in your yard. See Hometown Hardware for bug and insect sprays and repellent. Cookout time is fun time with a new Traeger grill. See their selection today and keep it cool or hot with a new K2 cooler. Yes, summertime fun starts at Hometown Hardware, 110 South Railroad Avenue, downtown Kings Mountain.
Hi, this is Woody Durham for Doctors Doug Stroud, Jim Wilson, and Craig Thompson at Family Dental Care in Shelby. No matter the age, kids, teenagers, and adults, Dr. Stroud, Wilson, and Thompson will take care of your dental needs. They have over 50 years' experience serving the people of Cleveland County. Call 704-482-3281 for Family Dental Care at 416 West Warren Street in Shelby. That's Doctors Doug Stroud, Jim Wilson, and Craig Thompson. Kids love them, and you will too.
And now Family Dental Care takes his time to welcome Dr. Paul McMurray to their practice.
All right, over here with it. Easy there. Great.
Rates are low today. The time is right to improve your home. We have home improvement loans and we're lending right now. Join your neighbors and friends and people all over our local communities who are improving the quality of their lives by improving the quality of their homes. We're an equal housing lender.
Carolina Trust Bank, member FDIC. Community-minded just like you.
Carolina Trust Bank, with 3 offices in Lincoln, also in Gastonia, Denver, Forest City, Hickory, Lake Lure, and Vail. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
All right, back on the original Saturday morning sea cruise. Captain Ron pulling the ship back into the dock. We're about done for today. That's going to about do it for me. Hey, thanks for all the Facebook messages and the calls and the comments. And I want to remind you, hey, I got a message from Terry Melton, who is the president of Shelby Shaggers. I want to remind you once again about tomorrow, 3 to 7 at Newgrass Brewery, Uptown Shelby. We'll be dancing there from 3 to 7. I'll be doing the music, so come on up. They got great food. So they're going to have, not only will they have their regular craft beer, but they'll have wine, they'll have water, they'll have soft drinks, and they've got some really good food. So come on up and hang out with us. We'll start at 3. And next Saturday, Shelby Shaggers will be dancing at the Kings Mountain American Legion. They start about 7 o'clock, and Steve Jenkins will be your DJ. Kings Mountain American Legion over on East Gold Street in Kings Mountain. Like I say, we're gonna let's get one more on. We're gonna close the show out today with the headliner for next week at the Kings Mountain Beach Blast. Here's Band of Oz for you with one of their great songs. It's "Build Me Up." Y'all have a good weekend, and we will see you, man, in 2 weeks. I'll be back in 2 weeks. Have a great day, everybody.
You build me up, and just to let me down, and you fill my cup, and turn my life around, all around. Why do you take me where my love can go? Why do you make me love you more and more? I don't have the Eiffel Tower, silver or gold, but my love for you and my love for you is the greatest story ever told. I don't have the Eiffel Tower, anything might die. Well, I love you, and never survive. Why do you have to stop that? Just to break my heart, oh, tear it all apart, and you let it stop. I can't stand it, baby. You move me so, and my love gets started. It goes and goes and goes. This is not a dream. And what love all
things around and take my advice. You won't pay such a heavy price. You got love, laugh, and live a little. Love, laugh, and live a little. Life's too short, you know it's true, to waste your days feeling blue. Find a friend, walk hand in hand, sing a song by your favorite band. Free your mind, get rid of that frown. It's just a smile turned upside down. Look at life in a brighter light. Your troubles past and the future's bright.
People are talking about why they listen.
Best music around.
We play a lot of music.
The Balls should beach oldies and sports stations. WHS Shelby, WLON Lincoln, online at KTCBroadcasting.com. And W268CU, Shelby.
Spanning 6 decades of sun, fun, and beach music classics. It's On the Beach with Charlie Brown.
That's where I wanna be.
Now from the Beach Music Hall of Fame, here's your host, Charlie Brown.
Welcome to On the Beach, sponsored in part by the King of Diamonds, Hayes Jewelers of
Cherryville Ironman Sports, right here on Big O Country, WCSL 1590 AM, Cherryville, Gastonia. Online at ktcbroadcasting.com.
The third round of the Belt Car Show will be this Saturday, August 19th from 10 till 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
It'll be a classic Ford Lincoln 1775 East Dixon Boulevard, Shelby.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Hi, I'm Calvin Hastings. I want to invite you to join the boss as we broadcast live during round 3 of the Belt Car Show at Classic Ford Lincoln in Shelby. We'll be there with free hot dogs, chips, and soft drinks. Plus, register to win some great prizes, including Southern Women's Show tickets, free rounds of golf, Hickory Crawdad tickets, T-shirts, and more. And check out the great deals, like 0% financing for 72 months, plus $1,000 trade assistance cash. Come into Classic Ford Lincoln in Shelby for all the details. So plan now to be there this Saturday, August 19th, 10 till 2 for the third round of the Belt Car Show at Classic Ford Lincoln, 1775 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby. Hi, this is Calvin Hastings, and I'd like to invite you to join Milton Baker and the Boss in Big O Country for a live remote broadcast this Saturday, August 19th from 11 to 1 at the General Store and Farm Supply on Long Shoals Road in Lincoln. The General Store and Farm Supply is celebrating its 1-year anniversary, and it's going to be big day this Saturday. Coming out for door prizes, music, free hot dogs, hamburgers, popcorn, ice cream, and more. Bring the kids and your camera to enjoy the petting farm. The General Store and Farm Supply will also have for sale a dozen farm fresh eggs for just $1, plus fresh produce and goats, chickens, and rabbits for sale. Come out to celebrate at the General Store and Farm Supply, 1034 Long Shoals Road in the former Whitey's Fish Camp. Call 704-214-2532 for more details and like us on Facebook. Remember the first anniversary celebration this Saturday. Come enjoy a real good time.
What's that howling?
Nothing to be afraid of. This is Coyote Tractor Country, mister. That howling just means somebody's bought another hard-working Coyote tractor.
If you're in the market for a hard-working, affordable 20 to 90 horsepower compact tractor, test drive a Coyote today.
You heard the man. Now get going. You're burning daylight, mister.
Visit www.kioti.com.
Your Coyote dealer is West End Sales, Highway 1827 intersection in Vail. For excellence in funeral and cremation services, talk with Carpenter Porter Funeral and Cremation Services in Cherryville, promoting the highest ethical and professional standards while maintaining cost-effective service. Call 704-435-6711 or come and talk with funeral directors John Porter and Hannah Garrett, offering you guidance during one of life's most difficult times. Carpenter Porter Funeral and Cremation Service, 1100 East Main Street in Cherryville, a member of the National and North Carolina Funeral Directors Associations.
And good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to Mitchem's Kitchen Sports Talk right here on WCSL 1590 AM, WLON 1050 AM, and on YouTube.com. I'm Evan Ludwig, joined by Terry Reinhardt, and Kevin Hastings is walking into the studios right at this moment as we speak. And I want to remind everyone that Mitchem's Kitchen sponsors this show. It's the Northbrook's finest in food. Give them a call today at 704-276-1155. You can dine in or carry out, and you can go to their location at Highway 27 at 274 in Vail, or even go to their website at mitchemskitchen.com. Hours today will be 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. as it is Monday through Saturday, and Sunday will be 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. What did you have this morning, Mr. Reinhardt?
Well, this morning I decided to have a biscuits and gravy with a side order of liver mush, and very good.
And good morning, everybody. I'm
Good
about to
morning,
have
Kevin.
my egg and cheese biscuit here in a minute. Thank you. I'm rushing in this morning, and after late night last night, Terry, we got out here. You scooted out here. I didn't even know you was out of here. You got out here so quick. You got an extra few minutes of sleep, I guess, than I did.
Yeah.
Terry snuck out here a few minutes early. About 5 minutes before me and Steve was just hanging around, wondering where Terry was, and he was gone. But good to see everybody this morning. Smoke, welcome back to studios after you was down at Forest View last night. I guess let's talk about what everybody's here to talk about today. Major League Baseball. Now, I'm just playing. Congratulations on the Red Sox with their sweep this week of the Cardinals real quick. You jerks. It's okay.
That broom setting in here.
He had it down the hall this week, Terry. I told him it didn't count because they had a DH in their home park and they had extra players and all that excuses that I used. Despite that, Cardinals are still 7-3 in the last 10, but thanks to a sweep of the Royals last week. They're on a roll still. We'll talk about that later. We've got a little NBA, a lot of NFL. Panthers play today. Smoke, you guys ready? I think it's going to be a good game, or should be good. I like that. If this is a regular season matchup, I like to watch it. I feel pretty. I'm feeling good about the Titans maybe this year. I like what they got going with Mariota and the bunch. We've got other stuff to talk about. We got to wrap up the American Legion World Series. You guys were out there. We got to go over how that went out there, and of course we got high school football last night in North Carolina. First night out. I want to thank all of our announcers, all of our viewers, all of our sponsors, and everyone else who made everything that what we did last night and we do every week here in football season, and also baseball and basketball season as well. We don't have the post-game shows with that, but we do basketball and baseball for you football fans. All of our announcers last night, Milton Baker and Danny Aker for Cherryville, Tom Sinafani, Matt Royster, and also Trent Marty with Burns Bulldogs, Andy Foster, Tim Foster, Amy Foster, Robbie Roop, and Hannah Roop last night. She gets the MVP award of the night last night, Smoke, out in the 5, well, this is after about 5 hours or so, when they Terry, four weather delays. And her and her mother out there, I want to thank her. I want to thank her especially. Guys out there keeping her dry and the cameras dry, and they worked real hard out there in the weather. And that was her first night with us, and we want to thank her for everything she did. Brent Pasco and Jeff Jones, Steve Degree out for the Shelby Golden Lions broadcast. Jason Saines, Philip Russ, and John Prather was with them last night. Cameraman, I want to thank those guys. Tim Johnson, Ken Lincoln, Smoke, Alec Johnson out there. You guys are at Forest View. Jason and Philip are at Kramer. I got those backwards. And then, of course, Terry Reinhardt, Carson Dockery, Shannon Allen, Dennis Davis, and, of course, the great Steve Robey here in the studios last night. Thank all those guys. You see them. And, of course, anytime you hear commercials during our sports, Steve, Terry and Evan and everybody else, if it wasn't for them, we couldn't come here and do what we do. And we try our best to do as many games as we can and what we can do. And go see them, shop locally, spend your money locally. It's your money, it's our money. Let's spend it locally, keep it locally. That's our motto here at KTC and What's Up Shopper. All right, guys, high school football last night. Terry, you guys ready to give some scores? And we had a big night last night, and we talked a little bit before my note of the night before we got off the air last night. Kind of proud about everybody across the board. We only had one shutout last night, one team that didn't score. and that was the Bunker Hill Bears. Newton Conover just had a wonderful game and confirmed some suspicions as far as that conference might go. 51-0 over Bunker Hill last night, and we'll start there in the South Fork 2A if you can, guys. You got those handy. Terry's got his scores. Speaking of Terry's scores on Friday nights, guys, we try our best to keep scores updated on Twitter and on our KTC. If you're watching online right now, folks, if you're listening to us, you can watch these studio shows online on KTC Broadcasting and YouTube. If you're watching online on Friday nights, we put the scores up there for everyone to see. And we're going to work on something, Smoke, here. We may even get it to where we post them here on Saturday mornings too. So you guys, when you pull us up, you can just see the scores as well. That probably shouldn't be too hard. We can probably figure that out. But let's give the scores out now, Terry. Let's start there in the South Fork 2A, where we've got a new conference, new people coming in and out of the conference. And like I said last night, I started with Newton Conover with a win, 51-0 over Bunker Hill.
Yeah, and our scores, we're just going to give them in random order because at the start of the season, everybody's playing, different conferences and all. So, Smoke, take off, buddy.
All right, it was Clover, South Carolina, winning a 56-26 game against Ashbrook. That was closer than the score actually shows. East Gaston squeaking on past North Gaston, 34-31. Hunter Huss takes care of Patton on the road, 49-20. Forest beats East Lincoln 7-6 in a slugfest, and Stuart Cramer gets off to a hot start as they beat Lincolnton 40-7.
Over at West Lincoln, it was West Lincoln 43, Drones 6. Bessemer City defeated Cherryville last night in a non-conference game, 38-7. Highland Tech pulls off a win last night to start the year 1-0 with a 34-12 win over Christ the King. Mountain Island chartered the number 8 1A team in the state of North Carolina, 42-6 over Franklin Christian, South Carolina. And Alexander Central pulls off a tough win up there at home against Burns, 28-23.
And the marathon of a game last night, South Point beat Crest 22-14. Shelby has a tough time with Freedom, but they take care of business, beating them 14-7. Union Academy with a big win over Hickory Grove Christian, 56-7. That's the new team in the conference for Cherryville and Bessemer City. Pine Lake Prep beats Northside Christian Academy 14-6. And North Lincoln's opponent next week, Carolina Wildcats, fall to Thomas Jefferson 34-8. And West Caldwell, now in a new conference, beats East Burke 35-0.
It was RS Central over McDowell 20-14. East Rutherford 34, South Stanley 2. Exactly, South Stanley 2. Newton Conover 51, Bunker Hill 0. It was Statesville over Hickory 27-26 in overtime. Bandy's over St. Stephen's 42-40 in 2 overtimes. Maiden defeated Fred T. Ford 37-14. It was South Lake Christian 26, Lake Norman Charter 6, Community School of Davison 32, North Moore 13. Polk County defeated Chase 30-14, and Tommy Knox brings his Dutch Fork Silver Foxes up here and defeats Independence 51-8.
I mean, how the mighty have fallen at Independence, and it doesn't get any better any worse for you guys, Independence, when their old coach that made them comes back and just beats the snot out of them.
Yeah, he's done that 2 years in a row. So.
Wow. Let's talk about the South Fork 2A Conference. A little bit of a shaky start for some of the teams. We figured some of the teams that have been dominating, Terry, would be in rebuilding mode, and for 2 of them that have been on top of the conference, that seems to be the case so far, as East Lincoln falls to Forest View 7-6, and Stuart Cramer gives a big beating to Lincolnton, beating them 40-7.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions now, Smoke. After you play game 1, you see a lot of things that need to be fixed. Lincoln and Stuart Cramer. Stuart Cramer drives down the field and scores, goes up 6-0. Lincoln, and they kick off to Lincoln. Lincoln then drives down the field, and they get stopped at the 10-yard line, 11-yard line, and come up with nothing. But, I mean, the questions in high school football, you got to have a field goal kicker. Mm-hmm. And I know that takes time, and a lot of people don't want to be a field goal kicker because the guy most of the time sits on the sidelines until it's his time to come in, and that's when he does come in. But Lincoln had come up with 0 points after their first drive, and then from then on, everything just tailspinned on them. And Stuart Cramer pretty much took control of the game, running the clock. and was having some big holes open up on the defensive side for Lincoln, and pretty much took them to town. But again, Stuart Kramer 40, Lincoln 7. I know Coach Gibson this week's got him and his coaching staff have got a lot of things to put in place to see how the rest of this year is going to be. And coming up, this coming week, another tough game for them, but they got to bounce back. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen Lincoln and pretty much plummeled. I mean, what happened last night? They had nothing for Stuart Kramer, and Stuart Kramer pretty much took it to them.
And I think the last time Lincoln has had a record below 500 would be around 1999. So it's been a very long time since Lincoln has gotten off to or had a rough year in terms of losing season. And, of course, it doesn't get any easier. It gets pretty much harder at this point as they're going against South Point in that Red Bone offense. I mean, as much as they lost this past offseason, I mean, you're getting all these new kids basically, and you're having them to go against one of the toughest offenses in the area. I mean, how hard is that going to be for Lincoln?
Yeah, and, after you lose your quarterback, or you lose your running back, the Little Johns, and then you lost your top receivers in Givens, and then you lost Surratt. The whole offensive team really basically was gone from Lincoln, and they had no spark last night. And somebody's got to step up and say, you know what, I'm going to take control of this team and lead us to where we got to be. Coaching staff's got to do their job. But last night from watching the game, it was one of them games that they were just pretty much handled from start to finish. And I always look at ball games on a lot of levels, and the last night's big one was when Stuart Kramer scored, and then Lincoln had just pretty much drove all the way down the field, and I'm like, hey, not bad, not bad. But then when you come up with no points, and then Stuart Kramer scores again, then all of a sudden, like I said again, it's just tailspins, and they never was in that game after that. So.
Yeah, and let's not take anything away from Stuart Kramer. I know we're kind of harping on Lincoln falling, but Stuart Kramer slowly built up a good start to their program. Made the playoffs for the first time last year, and now have a very big senior class. The school's not even 5 years old yet, or just right at 5 years, and they're now starting to really do good in football. And it's going to be tough for them in 3A, but definitely off to a great start. And I think if they can get off to a real good start in non-conference play, that'll maybe carry over to conference play.
It is, and they're in the Big South 3A, folks. And Stuart Kramer, like I said, this is one of the first times that they've had all seniors. And these guys have played, and is it the year? I thought last year would have been their year until they got into conference-wise, and then it kind of took a little tailspin. It wasn't. To me, I thought they would have a really opportunity of winning the conference last year. But this year, you got Crest, you got Burns, you got Kings Mountain, Forest View with a win last night. Hunter Huss is still in this conference, to go along with Ashbrook and North Gaston. So, this could be an up year for Stuart Kramer. Even the coach has said that we're decent. We're decent in a lot of spots. But, facing these people, you want to win your non-conference games before you start having to face these people in the Big South 3A.
Yeah, and let's switch gears to the other team in Lincoln County that struggled last night, East Lincoln. Defense-wise, they looked phenomenal. Didn't give up a touchdown, but Farsi gets a pick six early on in the game, and East Lincoln fails to convert on a 2-point conversion because I don't think they have a field goal kicker at this point. And that winds up costing them as they lose by 1 point, and no one scored after the pick six. And in total, 8 turnovers. Yeah, you heard that right. In total, 8 turnovers in that game last night.
And Smoke, those are the games that both teams can say, especially when it's 7-6 final. If we'd have did this right, this whole game would have changed. But to me, it was the low-scoring part of the game. And you were there. You saw the defensive. Was both defenses this good, or were they just mistake-prone?
I think when we come to East Lincoln's defense, I think they're that good. Because Coach Lubowitz, who's just coached his first game, he's been a defense coordinator at East Lincoln for 10 years. So I would think he would know how to get the defensive side really good. And you got Ryan Matz on that side, who's going to West Point. And let me tell you, that was the most fun part of the game last night, just watching him hit people. He was really not just almost every play. He was making a play all over the place, and that was real fun. Forest View, I think they looked better than they actually were on defense because they East Lincoln's offense just was not that good last night. It just didn't look good at all. They were switching quarterbacks in the game halfway through. So, offense, they're going to have to figure out a lot. Luckily they have a bye, but it's not looking good offensively for East Lincoln unless they have a big switch turn on before it's too late.
Well, we mentioned yesterday in the pregame show, we was talking about the quarterback-wise. Now, Jake Lee did start for Forest View, right? I mean, was he impressive? And on the other end of it, you had Chase Jones that started his first game for East Lincoln. I mean, we mentioned that, hey, you're moving from JV to varsity. It's a big step, and it start, when you're making that move, the whole game's different, and just to speak of both quarterbacks.
Jake Lee didn't really notice much, because Forest View they've mainly been throughout the time I've watched them a run-heavy team, because they've had some really good running backs. You look at last year, they had Love. They still have Chaparral Smith. They had Mo Neal, who's at Syracuse now. So them running the ball I'm not shocked that they were. So he's basically, you just want a quarterback to manage it and everything. And I thought they did all right, but the thing is that most defenses want to do against Forest View, I think, is force them to throw, because I don't think they really have that good of a passing game. East Lincoln, they lost Trevor Childers, who they had to plug in since Chandler Jones got hurt. Christian Parks was his first game back since being injured in the Lincolnton game last year. He did all right, but the passing game just isn't the same because, got so many young guys, and you're really hurt. Things would have been different if they had Marcus Graham, of course, without saying. And I feel like if they had Marcus Graham, they would have easily won that game last night. But the offense, I think, just took such a big hit from losing so many people last year that they're feeling the effects from it right now, and they're going to have to really grow up really fast, or it's going to be a long season for the Mustangs.
Yeah, and that when we're looking at this conference, we always have talked. Newton Conover stepped in last night, 51-0 win over Bunker Hill. Preseason, even the coaches have picked them to may probably win the conference, and then they had a tie for 3 spots right there for second between Maiden, East Lincoln, and Lincoln, for second. But 2 of them teams have already lost. Are going to have a few steps to make it. East Lincoln, maybe like you said, the defensive wise played pretty good, but on the other end of it, you step up to West Lincoln, and Coach Tom Sane maybe will call us early this morning, but 43-6 win last night over Drone.
Yeah, Tom Sane, I was talking to him on about Tuesday. He is really, or Monday or Tuesday, he's really excited about this team. They're pretty young, but that's a good thing, I feel like, in this situation, because they have probably some of the most weapons that they've had ever. I was talking to Mac George as well, who's now coaching there. Yeah. Of course, a West Lincoln grade a couple of years ago. And he said, we have 5 or 6 guys that can run a 4.6, which for West Lincoln, that is humongous. I know that doesn't sound like that for if you're a Shelby fan, but West Lincoln's been, a ground and pound team for most of their time, but now they got some fast guys that can run some different schemes in their offense and their defense. I feel like that is good, and put that in the fact that they are going to get their conference has teams like East Lincoln and Lincolnton who lost so much and they're having to rebuild at this time, that West Lincoln could be a team that really takes advantage of this. And I feel like this could be some of the best West Lincoln teams we've ever seen, but just right up there with the 2010 team, the 2013 team with the Villa. So I think if you're a West Lincoln fan, you should be really excited about this year and next year if you're a fan of West Lincoln.
Yeah, and again, this conference is the South Fork Athletic 2A Conference with Lincoln, East Lincoln, West Lincoln, North Lincoln, Bandy's, Maiden, Newton Conover, and Lake Norman Charter is in this conference. And I think we might have a call.
Good morning.
Good morning, Coach. How are you this morning?
Well, I'm better today than I was last year this time.
I did read it. I'll put it like this, Coach. I did read a few write-ups that Coach Sane never got over last year, the start of the season, when the game against Drone. But last night, I want to tell you something, and this is me to you, your coaches, your fans, your players. What a great performance. I mean, 43-6. You took control of the game early and never looked back.
Well, you know, I'm really proud of the coaches and how much they put in, all the hard work they put in this summer, and especially the players. Players came out last night, and this, you know, they had a really good night last night. I'm really proud of what they did. You know, last year it was my fault. You know, I take credit that, you know, I don't think I had us ready to play, and this year I think we, you know, kind of worked a little bit harder to get ready to play, and just real proud of the players and the coaches and all the work that they did, and proud of all the fans who came out last night. I know we're not in school right now, but it's a big game for us, and glad to see everybody there, even though they had to sit through a little bit of rain too.
Well, Coach, take care of, if you can remember their names, I know it's early, but your offensive linemen who created all the holes for your running backs last night.
Well, we're starting in the middle. Drew Sane. Drew's our center. He's junior. Does a really good job in there, you know, and at guards we have Brady Sane, another junior, and beside him Hunter Leatherman and Dalton Burris are two seniors that we have in there. Both those guys play those tackle spots, and of course on the other side we had Brock Steele at that other tackle spot. Can't forget to mention Nathan Bean too. Nathan's our tight end, and he works out with those linemen every day. You know, he can catch a pass or two, but he does a really good job blocking for us also.
Now, Coach Sane, one of the big news coming into this year about your offense was you had a new quarterback. You moved Seth Willis from linebacker to quarterback. How do you think he looked in his first game?
You know, Seth really settled in and played well last night. I was real proud of him. To lead our offense, you know, and up and down the field. You know, last year he like you said, he was a more of a defensive specialist and backed us up at quarterback, and you know, fortunately left. You know, Dallas Bridges was healthy all season, and Seth came in last night and really took over and did a good job. You know, even being a junior, you know, we're real proud of all that. Just big night from the Kathan Fansook at fullback. You know, real proud of him. I think he had about 18 carries for 176 yards. And we're real proud of him. And got a lot of action too out of our rest of our backfield. Brandon Eichert and Dylan Beam. Trying to think of some other guys right offhand, but all those guys pitched in last night and did a really good job.
Well, Coach, I know you mentioned Brendan Eichert, 11 carries, 87 yards for himself. And I want to mention one more thing as we stand in here. The conference-wise, surprising scores with Stuart Kramer maybe beating Lincoln in 40-7, but Newton Conover with a 51-0 win over Bunker Hill. How do you look at this conference this year?
Well, always our conference is as good as you're going to get around in this area. And if you ever want to see a really good football game, you could pick anybody in our conference and really get to see a good game on a Friday night. And I heard some of those scores, but that's a long way down the road. We're in the preseason right now, and our non-conference season just started last night. So we want to try to get through our non-conference season, and then we'll kind of look at the conference schedules we'll get there. But knowing the whole time that our conferences, you're every week you have to be on your best.
Now, Coach Sane, we know you're on a bye next week. Been kind of weird with the new scheduling, with all the new conferences being put together, so a lot of teams have some early byes. What are some of the advantages and disadvantages of having a bye this early in the year?
Well, that's going to give us a chance to go back and look at our game film and evaluate a lot of things and see what improvements we can make. We played well, but there's still a lot of things that we can get better at each and every week. But we'll get a chance now to sit down and look at that. Get some players, some chances. Get us some time to work on some other things. In the scrimmage seasons, you never get to work your special teams live. So, last night is the first time we've been live on any of our special teams, and got to put that together on the field. So, this will be a good chance for us to get some work in that area. Like I say, we'll go back to work. We'll sit down and evaluate the film and try to eliminate any mistakes we made and just improve on the improvements we did make.
Well, Coach, I want to, number one is thank you for calling us in today. And, again, this is me, and this is me speaking of you as a person. You do a lot of things beyond just football out here. You know, you're a man of the community. I've seen you do tons and tons of work for stuff, and people say, well, did he get paid? No, he didn't. You know, Coach Sane, you do a ton of things for the community of West Lincoln, and we do appreciate it.
Well, I thank you too, and I appreciate all you guys do and the publicity you get. You know, it's the publicity you give for our team and our players. All you guys, I think, thankful for all that, and we enjoy that and having all the coverage that we get from you. But just it's not about me. I'm just whatever we can do for these players and what's best for them.
All right, thanks, Coach Sane, and again, I appreciate you calling.
All right, y'all have a good day now. Thank you.
That's Coach Tom Sane of the West Lincoln Rebels, and we're going to send it to Kevin Hastings, and we're going to take a break here on Mitchem's Kitchen Sports Talk.
Fourth and goal from the one. This is it. It's make or break. The game is on the line. Who's tougher? Who wants it more? These are the moments that can define a season. The play is called, and the huddle breaks. The roar of the crowd builds with anticipation. And then
nobody is going to stop him. Touchdown, Carolina.
Hear all the defining moments right here on the Tar Heel Sports Network.
Is the cost of ink driving your profits down? Then listen up. Discount Ink Jet and Toner is here to help. Discount Ink Jet and Toner specializes in refilling ink jet and toner cartridges. Cut your ink costs by as much as 50% or more. Discount Ink Jet and Toner, located on 410 East Franklin Boulevard in Gastonia. 100% satisfaction guaranteed. It's time to play at the Kings Mountain Country Club. Play and ride on the new cart paths. Play and ride 18 holes Monday through Friday for $28. Seniors 55 and older can ride and play 18 holes Monday through Friday for just $24. Play and ride 18 holes on weekends for just $37. For tee times, call 704-739-5871 for the Kings Mountain Country Club, located on 109 Country Club Drive in Kings Mountain.
You may not know this, but the best greens of the Carolinas are right here in Shelby and Cleveland County at the Riverbend YMCA Golf Course. People continue to rave about the condition of the greens. Russell Spangler has worked hard to make them tip-top shape for your round of golf. And course manager Phil Wallace invites you to come on by and play. Call for their special rates at 704-482-4286 or visit the website at riverbendymcagolf.com. Call for your tee time today. The Orange Opportunity Sales Event is underway at Parker Farm Service in Kings Mountain. Come in now and ask about 0% financing for 84 months on select Kubota tractors with a big 6-year warranty. Come on in for all the details and don't miss it. The Orange Opportunity Sales Event underway now at Parker Farm Service, located at 126 Bessie Drive off the Oak Grove Road and Highway 74 bypass in Kings Mountain. Now, for a limited time, Hendrick Appliance and Mattress Center in Shelby presents the I'll Take All the Help I Can Get sale. Save up to 30% on select GE appliances with time-saving features. Save over $650 on a GE 30-inch slide-in front control electric convection range. Save over $100 on a GE stainless steel interior dishwasher with hidden controls. It's all good things for life during the I'll Take All the Help I Can Get sale at Hendrick Appliance and Mattress Center, 1241 East Dixon Boulevard, Shelby.
Well, YouTube's going to have a hold of that one, Smoke. Good job there, Chief. Keep it up. Playmaker, kind of. Hey, Saturday morning, we just talked to Coach Tom Sane that was awesome. Sorry, Coach Sane, I was manning the boards and let them guys go ahead and talk to you. I'm sure you didn't really need to talk to me if you didn't have to. Terry Reinhardt, though, is decked out today. He's all West Lincoln out, boys. He said last night he can't show no favoritism last night. Sitting right here. He said on first night I can't show no favoritism. And this morning.
Well, it's the second day.
This morning he's decked out in his 43-0 win over. 43. What was the score? 43-6. I forgot. That wasn't that we didn't have a shutout. Any more shutouts there. Great win last night for West Lincoln. Next week they got a bye, open week, and then they host Cherryville Ironman in week 3, September 1st, out at West Lincoln High School. We'll have that on WCSL 1590 AM. Milton Baker and Danny Aker will be out there to cover that. They were at Cherryville last night for an endowment game between Bessemer City and Cherryville, 38-7. Also on our games last night on the KTC family of network, South Point 22-14 over Crest. That one ended, what was it, about 11:15ish, Terry, somewhere around there?
Yeah, they did. And
I think we had started the show about 11:15. They were still playing, and it's maybe 11:20, 11:25 or so.
Yeah, and that was a game that was kind of interesting. I mean, South Point, with the veteran leadership that they've got coming back, jumped out 22-0, and they really almost let Crest back in it.
They started off 2-0.
Yeah, and that's what really got me. They almost let Crest back in, and Crest gets within 22-14.
Terry, I was getting some texts from people at the field that said this may turn around really quick. Crest got a lot of momentum.
Yeah, that's right, and they made it 22-14, still 5 minutes to go, but then that Redbone offense was out there and just marched it right down the field, and it's hard to stop it continuous.
Yeah. Well, and how about, Terry, real quick, how about trying to stop it after 4 rain delays? Yeah. Think about the concentration, the loose, you got to be loose, you got to be ready. You got to be, you got to be dedicated to being in your spot against that offense. You've had 4 rain delays. I mean, it's kind of hard to, Crest holding them to 22 just in that situation, and then coming back like that. You can't say enough for Crest. Like I was talking to Dennis last night, that he said they start 0-3 one year and still won the state championship. So I mean, these early season matchups with some of these big name teams, and we're going to go over our top 10 a little bit. And you're going to hear some names. You're like, why are they in the top 10? We'll explain it. But it's these early season matchups will cause some losses and stuff and change some rankings and in opinion polls, and ours is an opinion poll. Ours is a little bit different and other but these early season matchups can totally change how we look at teams. Like Shelby at Freedom, for example, last night. We're in the Jamboree last week. Shelby almost puts we're almost turning the because they were playing 2 quarters, they wouldn't have turned it on. But we're almost to a point where we're playing a running clock in a 2-quarter Jamboree. Their offense is humming, and then we look over here and it's 14-7. Terry.
Well, my whole deal is all you got to look is to the coaching. When Jill Bob Bryant come from Havelock and he come to Freedom, everybody knew when he come there that this team was going to be. It just takes him time, but it's like Divine going to Burns last year. The whole attitude of the players and what was happening changed. And last night, Freedom come out there, and for a long time, Freedom led 7-0. Because the first quarter went 0-0, then Freedom takes the lead 7-0, and then Shelby comes back in the second half and scores twice. But defensive-wise, Jim Bob Bryant's already got his group set. They know what to do, and against a very stiff Shelby offense, holding them to 14 points. So be careful on Freedom this year.
Yeah, and I'd like to say this about Crest. It's very hard to judge them when they're going against a Red Bull offense to start the year, and they're having. It's pretty hard for a kid to focus on the game when it's going 5 hours, rain delay, play a little bit, rain delay, play a little bit, rain delay. That's real hard to start the season off if you're a football player and you're going against one of the toughest offenses, a team that won the state championship last year. And also a thing about these starts, remember, South Point started the year 1-3 last year and still was able to win the state championship. So just because you get off to a bad start doesn't mean you're going to get just be bad for the entire year. You can quickly turn it around, but it's going to have to be like a snap. And I think Crest will still do that. They got a tough non-conference schedule.
Yes, they do.
They're playing TC Roberson this upcoming week, and then they got Weddington, which is really tough. And remember that epic playoff game a couple years ago where they almost lost. They had to go to like double or triple overtime.
All right, guys, we got a caller on line 1 here. All the way out at Bessemer City High School. on the baseball field, actually, and he's not here to talk about Bedford City baseball, I guess, or football, maybe a little bit. But Philip Russ joins us on the show. Couldn't get in last night because of our quick 30-minute score show. Philip on the call last night for Lincoln at Stuart Cramer, Philip, and we had Stuart Cramer in our poll before this started last night at number 5. And some people question that, what was going, if that's right. Well, what did you guys see last night from both teams, Lincoln and Wolves and the Stuart Cramer Storm?
Well, Stuart Cramer, I think, shocked everybody. Before the game, their coaches were coming through the press box, and they said, boys, we're glad you're here. Going to expect a lot of firepower on offense. And that was, needless to say, that's how they started. They started with a bang, the opening kickoff, took it all the way back to the house to start the game, and I think Lincoln from that point on was scratching their heads, and we kept using puns all night on the radio talking about the storm was easing in and it was here and the Wolves needed to seek shelter. Lincoln just really got gassed. I mean, I think that their conditioning was poor this year, at least coming into game one, because in the first quarter the whole defense had their hands on their hip. They were getting flagged for illegal substitution because, just it seemed like they were just out of gas. I mean, Stuart Cramer, I don't know if anybody listened to the radio last night, but I mean, there was no color commentating at all. These guys, they would run a play, you'd say first down, how much yards, you'd look back at it, and Stuart Cramer's already in the middle of a snap running the next play. I think we were trying to estimate. I mean, they got close to 100, 120, maybe 130 plays of offense last night. I mean, it was like every single time they got down, they never got gassed. They were, 100%. And I think that really was the attrition that wore down Lincoln early on, and they never recovered. They just, basically were just sucking air the whole game.
Well, Coach Russ, I know at the start of it, I know after Stuart Cramer had scored and went up 6-0, Lincoln got the ball and really drove down the field and then got stopped on downs at about the 10, 11-yard line, and come away with nothing. And, when you got a new group of kids that are trying to make names for themselves and all of a sudden you can't even – I mean, you don't have a field goal kicker, because I know when he did scored a touchdown later, the field goal kicker just barely got it over the uprights for the extra point. So, in high school football, you got to get on the board, and I think them coming away with nothing there was another key in the game.
Yeah, and it seemed like every time Lincoln got something positive going, they found a way to shoot themselves in the foot. There were several times, they tried to run two different quarterbacks out there. They had Terrell McClain and Tyreek Hollis that were sharing time at quarterback, trying to fill that spot left by Cordell Littlejohn. And it was clear that there were not enough snaps taken with the center and game reps. There was a lot of times that ball was put on the ground and exchanged there. Also, I'm going to say that the line, I think that's the biggest offensive line I've ever seen Lincoln have. I mean, they've got some 300-pounders up there on the front, but those guys were being lackluster and getting out of their stance. And they should have been fresh, because the defense played about 92% of the ball game last night. And Stuart Cramer was just penetrating left and right. Anytime they brought a blitz, they were tackling at the mesh point, running backs, getting a hit right at the at the handoff. And that early drive, we were thinking, and me and Jason were talking about it, during halftime, that first drive, once it was kind of like the haymaker punch to Lincoln. It's like, hey, we can stop you, because once they stopped them, Stuart Cramer went back out there, and Kaiser Caton, a junior running back, and then you had the Morris kid, who's only a sophomore, and they've got a steady, handy diet to handing the ball off to either one of those guys. The only shock that was probably for us in the booth was, Stuart Cramer came in with a quarterback that had 19 career starts and, over 900 yards passing last year, 500 on the ground. Thought it was going to be a dual threat deal, and that coming in Rockmore. But they actually started a junior, Luke Carpenter, that took control most of the game the first three quarters. I don't know if it was injury or if they used Rockmore more on defense. But then when Rockmore came in, it was a totally new Stuart Cramer offense. They went back to like a read option and just a speed option look, and he made several key plays for them and ended up scoring. So the big thing is, I know we've got Stuart Cramer ranked pretty high in our preseason poll, but I think they can move higher, especially in this non-conference looking, and what they've got faced ahead, this is a team that can definitely contend in that new Big South Conference this year.
Now, Coach Russ, I was wondering how the defensive front four for Stuart Kramer was real dominant last year. Were they just as dominant last night against those big offensive linemen for Lincolnton, or was it a little bit different?
Well, I mean, I really think it's got a lot to do with they're the reason why, and they're that anchor for that defense. They stood up the offensive lineman and kind of got stymied there in the middle to let the linebackers free play. You want that in your defensive line so that the linebackers can go left and right and make plays, and we saw that early on. Robert Truesdale, a senior number 2 linebacker for them. Last year, we talked about in the pregame show, he had 165 tackles, 110 solo, and there in the first half, he was everywhere the ball was because he had free lanes to move on defense. The kid to watch probably on Stuart Kramer's defensive line is a Collins kid, number 80. That kid at defensive end, anytime they needed a sack or anytime Lincoln tried to, set back in the pocket and look down the field, this kid would come out of nowhere for like a huge sack or a big tackle for loss. But, you kind of got to give that defense credit in the secondary. I mean, there was a lot of times those safeties would creep up on the line, or those corners would really stretch it out and beat the receiver and make a tackle. And they deflected a few passes, and it kind of really snuffed out the Lincoln passing game, which this year, I think last year they were very well-tuned, well-sound. This year it looks like that's not going to be their bread and butter. I mean, Lincoln seemed as if the best thing they had was power eye, and, is trying to stretch things to the edge. And I think Stuart Kramer, coaching staff, their defensive staff definitely this morning should have got breakfast ball for them, because that's a staple win for that program, and they did their job preparing those young men for the game last night. So
looking to next week, I know if Stuart Kramer goes against Mountain Island Charter, a little bit of a different type of task. They're going against former East Lincoln quarterback Marcus Graham. Do you think the defense will have trouble with Marcus Graham, or do you think it'll be much of the same as they did against Lincolnton last night?
Well, Lincoln really didn't. I thought they were going to put, at one point, Tyreek Hollis back at receiver. He played receiver last year, caught a lot of passes from Little John. But they really didn't put him out there in the slot. They had a lot of bigger receivers. Skylar Evans, a couple kids like that. They were real big. But from that standpoint, Stuart Kramer just kind of held, Lincoln. There was no really pass interference. There was nothing that the secondary ever got really called on. They just kind of, I think they got a sportsmanlike penalty because they taunted one of the receivers when they really dominated him. Kind of looked like Josh Norman on somebody in the NFL. I mean, those guys kind of sat back in like a cover 2, cover 4 all game and just really put an umbrella. And, if Mountain Island Charter does that, will they have time in the pocket? How good is Mountain Island Charter's offensive line? Because, like I said, that front 6 for Stuart Kramer kind of imposes their will, and they make the decision of what you can do in the game offensively, at least by last night's standard.
Well, Coach, I know as I was looking at it, and I know you mentioned, and I was going to say, I've seen a lot of high school football teams who use 2 quarterbacks. Well, I've never liked the thought of using 2 quarterbacks. I don't think you ever get a sense of everybody understanding what the next guy's going to do, and that's if you got 2 guys back there. But you said that Stuart Kramer used 2 quarterbacks too, and could it have been disciplinary, the reason he was not starting the game at quarterback? Or, did he play defense though in the first half?
Not that we could tell. I was kind of shocked. We talked about him loosely in the pregame, and then they run that Carpenter kid out there. But it was more like Carpenter is a better manager of the game. Like, he makes better sound decisions with the offense, and it looked as if he had more control of the pace. Because when Rockamore came in there at the end when they had the big lead, he was a run first, maybe read, make a play later kind of guy. Like, it looked like he was the playmaker, but he was also like your run-oriented quarterback, and he wasn't much of a passer, sit back there and do a whole lot. So that added them just kind of like a wildcat, more of a versatile offense on the ground, and they were looking to chew the clock. Carpenter looks like more of your Peyton Manning, stand back there, command the field, and do that. The issue that I have with Lincoln, the 2 quarterback system that they're running, it's not going to be very difficult for defensive coordinators to sit back and make a plan, because when McLean comes in, it's usually power eye, under center, They're going to run the ball, left and right to tackle. And then their best play last night, jokingly, their best offensive producing play was probably the quarterback sneak through the A-gap right behind the center. I mean, they were getting 5 to 7 yards a clip. And I don't know why they went away from that play. I mean, I know you can't run quarterback sneak all the way down the field, but it was the only play they had positive production and never took a loss at. I mean, they were constantly getting 5, 7, 8 yards a clip. But in the same token, when the Hollis kid comes in, you're going to expect a very versatile sprint out passing. He never, sprint out and then posted and went up the field. But both of those quarterbacks for Lincoln and very weak in the pass. I mean, they were just kind of stepping back, chunking it up in the air and praying that the receiver could go get it. I mean, I never seen a ball on time that the receivers could catch in stride like you would like to see and be able to get movement and yards after a catch. It looked like they were just throwing it up. The receiver would have to stop, come back to the ball, jump, try to catch it at the highest point. And Stuart Kramer really was just right there, 2 or 3 guys around every receiver, and making it very difficult for them to even complete a pass. But, yeah, the two-quarterback system, I think Stuart Kramer's got a lot more of a system set up for their guys. And, I don't really see a problem with them starting the Carpenter kid over the Rockamore. But definitely Lincoln is going to go to the drawing board, and they need to – it's hard to say that because Lincoln is such a tradition and such a grounded program. They've got to find their identity offensively because they really are struggling defensively to slow anybody down. A lot of missed tackles, and that's hard to see. But I mean, you expect that early on. But they've got to find a way to develop some type of offensive identity, whether they're going to be a pass, run, and gun, or they're going to be a ground and pound, and then they'll be able to free up another athlete. Because, McLean actually punts. He returns kicks. He returns punts. He plays quarterback, and he was playing outside linebacker last night for Lincoln. And you can't have probably your best key offensive player playing so many hats on your football team.
All right, Phillip, well, you need to get back to work out there on that field right now. You got to keep that thing looking good for those folks over at Best City. Next week, you guys got South Point Lincoln. Lincoln, I look forward to that. We've talked a lot about both, actually, in the last few little bit. So thanks for giving us a call, giving us an update, and we'll see you next Friday night, South Point at Lincoln on WLON 1050 AM along with Jason Sane. Phillip, thanks for calling.
Yes, sir. You guys have a good morning.
Thanks, Coach Russ. All right, that's Coach Phillip Russ, baseball coach at Best City High School. He announces football games for us here at KTC Broadcasting. Also helps us with some American Legion and other things as well. And on Saturday mornings, thanks for all the work he does out there at the field. Lincoln will be hosting South Point next week, radio only. South Point at Lincoln, radio only, WLON 1050 AM. You can listen online with the Ustream app and on KTC Broadcasting. All right, we got to take a break. We'll be back in just a few moments on KTCBroadcasting.com.
Hi, this is Calvin Hastings, and I'd like to invite you to join Milton Baker and the Boss in Big O Country for a live remote broadcast this Saturday, August 19th from 11 to 1 at the General Store and Farm Supply on Long Shoals Road in Lincoln. The General Store and Farm Supply is celebrating its 1-year anniversary, and it's going to be big day this Saturday. Coming out for door prizes, music, free hot dogs, hamburgers, popcorn, ice cream, and more. Bring the kids and your camera to enjoy the petting farm. The General Store and Farm Supply will also have for sale a dozen farm fresh eggs for just $1, plus fresh produce and goats, chickens, and rabbits for sale. Come out to celebrate at the General Store and Farm Supply, 1034 Long Shoals Road in the former Whitey's Fish Camp. Call 704-214-2532 for more details and like us on Facebook. Remember the first anniversary celebration this Saturday. Come enjoy a real good time.
I'm Terry Clark, inviting you to join me this week for Country Gold, where we play all your favorites from the 80s and 90s.
Country Gold with Terry Clark, Thursday afternoons 1 to 5 on Big O Country, 1590 AM WCSL, and online at KTCBroadcasting.com.
The Southern Women's Show is more than a show. It's 3 fabulous days of fashion, food, and fun. Let the shopping and celebration begin on August 25th through 27th at the Charlotte Convention Center. Meet Olympic gymnast Lori Hernandez, see the firefighters on stage, and get a makeover in the Belk Pavilion. Sponsored by Food Lion, Chevrolet, and the Charlotte Observer. Discount tickets at Walgreens. Visit southernwomenshow.com for details.
Head to the mountain, Crowder's Mountain Golf Course, that is, for a great golf outing. Play and ride 18 holes Monday through Friday for $27. Seniors age 65 and older can play and ride Monday through Friday for $24. Play and ride weekends and holidays for $37. After 1 p.m., play and ride for $32. Make your tee time today at 704-734-0383 for the Crowners Mountain Golf Course. Play at the mountain today.
CarQuest Auto Parts is the right place to find batteries for all your lawn and garden, marine, agricultural, and power sport needs. With well over 500,000 products available, you're sure to find exactly what you need at CarQuest Auto Parts. That's Eddie's Auto Parts, 2514 East Main Street in Lincoln.
When you want some help from a fellow car lover, it's all in one place, as you'll discover. Roll in to CarQuest and roll on.
And good morning. What's up, shopper? Saturday Sports Talk, Mitchem's Kitchen Sports Talk. Give them a call today. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner, 7 days a week. 704-276-1155. Terry, we had a great breakfast this morning. We've been getting fed for about 12 straight hours right now. I don't know if I need to eat the rest of the weekend. I'm about as full as I can get. Last night, we want to thank all of our food sponsors, don't we? A lot of this goes into it. They think we're just raking in money, Terry, and we're begging for food, ain't we? we got to get our food sponsors to provide us dinner for some of our announcers and stuff to get these broadcasts going. We couldn't sit here for as long as we do. About 7 hours every night.
That's it.
Especially
on Friday.
On Friday nights. And we ain't getting rich off of it, but at least we're getting full off of it, right?
I told Mr. Steve Robay last night, I said, man, I'm going to have to go on a diet, which is the first week.
I know, it's salads the rest of every other day during football season. We'll fatten up during the winter. Thank all of our food sponsors. I know Cherville and the gang, the Ironman broadcast, they get their pregame meal over at Pat's Drive-In. I'm sitting there thinking about it. I'm thinking about the barbecue sandwich I get at Pat's Drive-In all the time. They got a really good barbecue sandwich if you like barbecue, Terry. It's tomato based. If you like that kind of mixed together for you, oh, so good. But Pat's Drive-In, they do their pregame meal. I know Austin Bridges takes care of some of the guys over in Cleveland County as over there. Let's see, Max Grill takes care of us for our pregame show. Here in Cherville. Give them a call today. Who else? We also got Papa John's takes care of us at night and feeds us at night during the post-game show. Feeds Dennis some pizza and keep us going. Any of our other guests that come in at night, we got pizza for them as well. So if any of our straggling broadcasters come by, like Smoke was about to come by last night just for the pizza, Terry, last night all the way from Forest View. I told him to go home and make his mama happy. So
yeah, and I don't blame him. As late as it did get started on account of the South Point Crest game, Smoke, we might have saved you a little bit of gas.
Yeah, we probably did.
There you go.
And then of course this morning, Mitchem's Kitchen providing us with the breakfast this morning on our show, get us up and going. Thank all of them, Terry. We had a good time here last night watching the games on YouTube. HD, we had 3 games last night. This week we'll have 2, and we sat down there on the couch, and we put our feet up and moved up and down the hall. We was in about 4 or 5 different rooms, just checking it out. We had Twitter everywhere. We had a good time here last night, didn't we?
Yes, we did. And if you have not seen it, maybe coming a week or whatever, if you cannot make it to the game, always go if you can, because revenue is what every school's after. But if you cannot, you sit back and you can pull it up on YouTube here from KTC, and it's like watching a regular NFL game. That's how clear it is, to the point. Nothing blinks, nothing shades to the side or left. But a great broadcast last night. In the films that I was watching, fantastic.
And I mean, no offense to what we've been doing for the past 5 or 6 years, but it makes a world of difference what we've done this past off season to make the broadcasting experience better for you fans.
We're so happy. The fact of the matter is, every time that we've had a chance to upgrade not necessarily the equipment or what we can do online, the internet, the speeds that we have to be able to do what we're doing now, we can only go up in increments at a time. We've been able to only push so much video over the internet. Basically, you guys, if you think about it, we're pushing, a live video football broadcast over a phone line. So basically, if you got your cell phone and you're worried about, I ain't got no signal here, I ain't got no signal there. Well, we're trying to stream video through that, same signal. Yeah. So think about, you're sitting at home and you can barely even check your email much. Think about we're trying to push video through that same signal. So doing the best we can. YouTube, I'm glad we've partnered with them, moved over with them. They've allowed us to do a little bit more than we can with video. We've been able to add our scoreboards, so you can see the score at all the times when you check in, because a lot of people do check in and out. The only difference is right now YouTube has a little /ban on you got to have so many views on your page before you can put them on your website. So this year we got to work towards, we got to get as many viewers as we can, folks. So we got to work towards getting enough viewers that we can. The next year we'll be able to embed those on our webpage, and then we'll go back to. You can go back to the page where you can watch 6 games at once. Right now we can't do that because of YouTube restrictions. Hopefully next year with that. But if you go to KTC Broadcasting on Friday nights, we got links to all the games. You click just on there on the home page, top of the page, you'll see the games going across. If you'll click on your game of choice there at the top in the slideshow, you'll go straight to the page that you need to go to watch the games and listen to them. Also, Terry, they can watch us on KTC here in the studios on Fridays, right?
Sure can.
We got Terry, Carson Dockery, and Shannon Allen, 5:30 to 7, Witherspoon Insurance pregame show. Watch them in the studios. Fridays after the game, myself, Terry, Dennis Davis, and Evan Lowe. We just got Terry all over the place. I'm tired of looking at his picture and all this stuff. Smoke. I'm the one that's got to make these ads, Terry. I swear.
Him in that NC State hat.
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff. Can't you not get a hat off, Terry? You got that beautiful, bald, shiny head, Terry. You need to let that thing fly with the rest of them.
It's all right. It's okay.
I mean, I thought Stone Cold made ball people.
I know. Yeah. Well, Michael Jordan made ball people cool. He's Stone Cold. I hear you, wrestling fan. All right. All right. Well, welcome back to Sports Talk. It's time. Let's give some scores and give everybody updated, and we'll talk about. Then we're going to talk about our new power rankings, Terry, and we'll make some people mad this morning on where they're at. But they always work out, folks. They always work out. All right, let's give some scores.
All right, Clover, South Carolina beats Ashbrook 56-26. East Gaston squeaks on by North Gaston to start the year 34-31. Hunter Huss takes care of Patton as they beat Patton 49-20. Forest View battles it out with East Lincoln as Forest View wins 7-6. Stuart Kramer, as we noted earlier, beats Lincoln big 40-7.
Over at West Lincoln, it was West Lincoln 43, Drone 6. It was Bessemer City defeating Cherville last night 38-7. Highland Tech goes to 1-0 on the year with a 34-12 win over Christ the King. Mountain Island Charter, the number 8 1A team in the state of North Carolina, 42-6 win over Franklin Christian, South Carolina. And Alexander Central gets by Burns 28-23.
And the marathon game of Week 1, South Point beats Crest 22-14. Shelby gets a touchdown late to beat Freedom 14-7. Union Academy gets a big win over Hickory Grove Christian 56-7. Pine Lake Prep beats Northside Christian Academy. A lot of Christian academies in this list. 14-6. And Thomas Jefferson beats North Lincoln's opponent this upcoming week, the Carolina Wildcats, 34-8. And West Caldwell shuts out East Burke 35-0.
It was RS Central 20, McDowell 14, East Rutherford 34, South Stanley 2. It was Newton Conover 51-0 win over Bunker Hill. Statesville 27-26 win over Hickory in overtime. It was Bandy's 42, St. Stephen's 40 in 2 overtimes. Maiden over Fred T. Ford 37-14. South Lake Christian defeated Lake Norman Charter 26-6. Community School of Davison 32, Northmore 13. It was Polk County over Chase 30-14, and Dutch Fork 51, Independence 8.
Are y'all done?
We are done.
Sorry, I had to run down the hall just a minute. Check out. Got lost in exactly where you guys were. It's Power Poll time. We're going to talk about that real quick. The What's Up Shopper Power Poll. Now, how this works, preseason, we did, well, we'll do the preseason second. Preseason was an opinion poll based on talking to most of the broadcasters in the KTC family, and we put together based on our final, the final judges were myself, Smoke, and and Andre, as we put together everyone's opinions, basically, and this is what we come up with. But the way the power poll works from now through the rest of the season is record, right? Can we follow that?
Yeah.
If you're 1-0, you're better than 0-1, right, Terry?
Exactly.
If you're 6-0, you're better than 3-5, right, Terry?
Exactly.
Just for you LeBron fans out there, a little simple math for you. Even if you're 5-2, you're still better than 3-5, right, Smoke? Yeah. For you Kobe fans out there that are listening out there today. All right, now that's step one. That qualifies you for the first spot. Second spot, defensive points allowed. It doesn't matter if you score 175 points and you give up 74. You go to the bottom of the poll of everyone with the same record as you. So it's defensive points allowed. So if you throw a shutout, you could be higher in the rankings. Give up 2, like East Rutherford did, if they are. Now, who's in the ranking? Final thing. Third step. If we have a tiebreaker after those 2 steps, which we do early in the season, we have a lot of tiebreakers we got to break. Then we go to point differential. So, first step is record. So 1-0. Second step is how many points you give up. 0. Then the next step is point differential. And that's 51. Newton Conover is our number 1 team after week 1 night here in the KTC What's Up Shopper Power Poll. The 51 didn't matter because nobody else threw a shutout last night in our area. These are our 19 teams that we cover in the KTC family that we have in our power polls that we broadcast games of on a regular basis here in our areas. Not just football, we do basketball and baseball and other of these games as well. So you got the Gaston County, the Cleveland County, the Lincoln County schools, and Newton Conover are included in these rankings right now. All right, guys, here we go. Number 1, that was the Newton Conover Red Devils with 0 points and giving up. Now we're going to go backwards after I gave that up because I wanted to give that up to explain it. So Newton Conover is number 1. So we're going to go back to number 10. I did get these right, Terry? Before I go any further.
That's what I'm looking at.
We got these in order,
Kings
right?
Mountain and North should be ahead of North Gaston. I mean, they don't have a record, and North Gaston lost.
Oh, no, that's supposed to be East Gaston. That's supposed to be switched. Switch those pictures, Smoke.
All right.
But you were close to being right. You were almost right. You were wrongly right, wasn't he, Terry? We had the wrong Gaston last night.
Everything else looks correct.
Everything
That's
else
the first
is good.
thing I stopped on.
Okay, we had the East and North switched on the polls. Now we're ready. Number 10.
That's it.
In the power poll, with a win last night, 1-0, when they gave up 31 points, the East Gaston Warriors. 34-31 win. Congratulations on East Gaston. You're number 10 in our power poll this week. Number 9, the Hunter Huskies. They gave up 20 points last night in a 49-20 win over Patton. Then last night, our nightcap, we had a 14-point defensive effort given up by the South Point Red Raiders. They're number 8. South Point number 8 with a win over Crest. So now here's where it's about to get fun for you guys in the power poll. Now, it's like we said, it's record defensive points allowed. It has nothing to do with who you play, does it, Terry?
No, it does not. And just remember, as the year goes along, the teams will move to the top. You know, even if you're low right now and somebody else you think should not be in front of you gets a win, well, it comes with how many points they gave up that night. And is that going to happen all year long? Probably not, but just don't fall off a bandwagon while we're going through this now.
We don't think that. This doesn't mean nobody here thinks that these teams is better than this team. So don't say Terry's crazy or Kevin or Evan's crazy because of this. You can say we're crazy because of other stuff.
Because it all works out at the end.
But at the end of the year, it'll work out. Number 7 in our power poll, and for the first time ever in the top 10, and I think undefeated. I would guess. I'm not 100% sure about that, Smoke. Terry, is that right?
You are correct. 1-0.
First time they've been undefeated. Undefeated for a week. Coach should, they're going to build a statue out front for him. Highland Tech Rams, the number 7 team in the What's Up Shopper Power Poll. I want to congratulate them. We're going to take some pictures of that, tweet that out. Number 7, just ahead of county rivals South Point Huss, and East Gaston, because last night the Highland Tech Ramblin' Rams held the Christ the King to 12 points in a 34-12 victory over Christ the King. And, you know, Terry, looking at that, it might not be that surprised they beat Christ the King. But they dropped 34 points last night for Highland Tech. That's something new, right?
Yeah, I'm very impressed with that. I mean, you know, and when you think of Highland Tech, number one, I would like to know how many players come out.
Right.
That is huge down there, because last year they only had 18 to 20 guys that even come out for football. So,
depth is a huge thing in
yes,
football.
it is. And, you know, this year
you need 22 just to practice, don't
yeah.
you, Terry?
I mean, this year a 34-12 win over Christ the King. Congratulations, Highland Tech.
And you know, those kids have probably been for a lot, the seniors especially, because, you know, get to the point where, like, oh,
why do I play the game?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you got to love the game, number one, to go play it. But when you're out there and you continuously get beat and you get beat bad every game, you know, that kind of takes your mind gets focused on something else while you're playing the game on the field. I mean, you know, that's just how it happens.
Well, I mean, like, you know, and you don't know exactly, you know, everybody doesn't understand how they get their students and everything. We can talk about that in a different time. But, you know, at Highland Tech, you know, they have struggled at football. You know, they used to be that area, that junior high used to be a powerhouse in Gaston County, and it's good to see them any type of success, especially on the football field. That's just outstanding. Those kids are going to have an awesome week. They'll remember that the rest of their lives. They're number 7 in the power poll. They jumped to highest. Now, we did a preseason power poll. The preseason was based on our opinions, right?
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. So the preseason power poll, if we go any further past Highland Tech, Shelby is number 1, South Point 2, Crest 3, Kings Mountain 4, Stuart Kramer 5, Huss 6, Burns 7, Forest View 8, Ashbrook 9, Bessemer City 10. That's what we had here. Now, then we had a slew of South Fork 2As because we had no idea what to do with them, and we just went 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and we're daring them just to prove it.
Yes.
And they're going to prove it because we're going to talk about who's number 1 and 2 in just a minute, right, Terry?
Exactly.
All right, so some of you folks I'm about to mention in just a second, don't get too mad because you're going to be happy in a second. Newton Conover 11, West Lincoln 12, Lincoln 13, East Lincoln 14, North Lincoln 15. And then we finish off with East Gaston 16, Cherryville 17, North Gaston 18, Highland Tech 19. The What's Up 19 power poll. All right, back to number 7. So we got Highland Tech at 7, right?
Yes.
South Point at 8, right in front of Highland Tech. Now, if Highland Tech get a big win next week, they can jump the Shelby Golden Lions. 4-time champions last night held Freedom to 7 points, and that, Terry, was actually a defensive score. So the Shelby defense did not give up a point. So, you know, they'll make the argument that they should probably still be number 1 because of they technically shut them out, but they didn't get the shutout totally, right?
Yes.
So Shelby at 6. Bessemer City at number 5. The Yellow Jackets in the endowment game give up 7 to the Cherryville Ironmen. Now, here's where it gets a little sticky. We got 3 teams who gave up 7 points right here. And so we had to break some tiebreakers. And so it ended up being point differential. And it looks like Bessemer City ends up at 5. And they moved up from 10 to 5 in our power poll. Highland Tech moved up 12 spots, by the way, from 19th to 7th. Stuart Kramer moves up 1 spot. We about nailed that, Terry. They're number 4 now, as that with a 40-7 win over Lincoln. And number 3 now in our power poll. We had them at 8 originally. Now this will change all year, folks. Just hold on. Number 3, we've got the Forest View Jaguars. We started off at 8. And now, for you South Fork 2A folks, we dared you to prove it. They did last night, Terry. Big wins. For West, we already told you Newton Conover was number 1. West Lincoln Rebels, Terry, he's all decked out. He's number 2, Smoke. He'll always be number 2, right? Terry, you look and smell like a number 2 today. I tell you what, with all that West Lincoln gear on, you guys number 2 in the power poll. But looking at that, Terry, like we said, it always works out in the end, right? Because the defense, the wins, it just turns into record wins, and you got to fight your way through. And you know, the champions, and then when you get to playoffs, the further you go in advance, the further you move up in the poll.
Yeah, and when we get to the end, I mean, a lot of people says, "Well, we cannot believe that top 10." Well, just tune back in each week, and you'll see how it alternates, and your top teams will move to the top, and
right.
you know, especially defensive wise, because we all know and this is my opinion, maybe not everybody's, but defense is what wins championships. So, it all work out.
Oh, absolutely. I wrote an article about that in the What's Up Shopper about defensive winning championships. We talk about that all the time. Just in the NFL, is it 7 times, I think? Only 7 times in Super Bowl history as a team without a top 10 defense won the Super Bowl. So there you go. And all those teams were ranked in the teens. They weren't, none of them in the 20s. Yeah. So, defense does win championships. So, Crest, Ashbrook, they talk about how many points they put on the board in these state championship runs. Is it time for a state championship runs the past few years, Terry? But when you looked at the power polls, they were holding teams under 10 points, 7 points, and almost about right at 3 points a game, 3 and 4 points a game some years. And Shelby never trailed last year because of defense, right?
Yeah, and this is not an amazing thing. They've already trailed this year.
Yeah, well, they never trailed last year, and they trailed this year. At one point last night, Smoke on Air is pretty funny. I guess for you Cleveland County folks, it wasn't too funny. It was 7-0 Freedom and 2-0 South Point, and Steve Robay was trying to find the number for the Cleveland County ambulance to get them ready for all the heart attacks in Cleveland County about to happen right then. But Shelby got it turned around. Crest almost got it back turned around, and a game like that, either team could have won that.
They could have.
It's just four weather delays, rain delays, opening night. 2 new coaches, just new all around, right?
And Coach Devine took his team over to Alexander Central, comes up short 28-23, but that was a back-and-forth game.
All right, we're going to give the scores and when we come back. We've got NFL to talk about. We'll give you more high school stuff in a little bit. We've got NFL, Major League Baseball, and also we've got to wrap up the American Legion World Series here on KTC Broadcasting. We'll be back in just a few minutes. KTC.
The third round of the Belt Car Show will be this Saturday, August 19th from 10 till 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
It'll be a classic Ford Lincoln 1775 East Dixon Boulevard, Shelby.
Let's get ready to rumble!
I'm Calvin Hastings. I want to invite you to join the boss as we broadcast live during round 3 of the Belt Car Show at Classic Ford Lincoln in Shelby. We'll be there with free hot dogs, chips, and soft drinks. Plus, register to win some great prizes, including Southern Women's Show tickets, free rounds of golf, Hickory Crawdad tickets, T-shirts, and more. And check out the great deals, like 0% financing for 72 months, plus $1,000 trade assistance cash. Come into Classic Ford Lincoln in Shelby for all the details. So plan out to be there this Saturday, August 19th, 10 till 2 for the third round of the Belt Car Show at Classic Ford Lincoln, 1775 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby.
This is the voice of the Blue Devils, David Shoemate, inviting you to join us for the 2017 edition of Duke Blue Devils football. We'll bring you all the action all season long, including in-depth analysis and exclusive access to players and coaches before the opening kick and after the final whistle. This is your exclusive source for Duke football.
Duke, North Carolina, and Clemson football right here on the Boss in Big O Country, your beach oldies and sports stations.
It's time. Time to head to the Pine Mountain Golf Course. Pine Mountain invites all former Pine Grove Golf Course players to come on up. You'll find a challenging 18-hole par 68 course. Play all day on weekends for only $22. Seniors can play and ride on weekends for $19. And ask about the Clip and Save coupons available. Call 828-433-4950 for your tee time at the Pine Mountain Golf Course, located at the base of the beautiful South Mountain State Park.
Honey, I am officially on break. This cold McDonald's McCafe drink is really chilling me out.
Oh, me too. I'm officially on break from worrying about the weird sound coming from the garbage disposal.
And I'm officially on break from having to think about cleaning out the garage.
You've been thinking about that for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, it's about time I had a break from thinking about it.
For a limited time, get every size soft drink or Mickey D's sweet tea for $1. Or a small McCafe frappe smoothie or shake for just $2. Prices and participation may vary. A la carte only.
There you go, Ann. Your new account is now open. Just one more little thing.
Here's your card.
What was that?
It's my new bank. Every time I turn around, I get hit with another fee.
You need to get an account at Carolina Federal Credit Union.
She's right.
Tired of getting hit by bank fees? Switch to Carolina Federal Credit Union today. Make those pains go away.
Here's your receipt.
And good evening. Not evening, is it, this morning? Good grief. It's been, I don't feel like I've never went to sleep. My eyes never closed. It's been a long night. First night back for us. You know, it's 7 to 8 months. 8 months of sleep on Friday nights and getting up Saturday morning, and it changes real quick, don't it? It hits you like a brick as first morning. But, you know, what's good about this year is we got our biscuit orders settled, and, you know, that's going to help a lot, getting up and eating Mitchem's Kitchen biscuits, 704-276-1155. Give them a call today. And breakfast, lunch, or dinner, about every type of food you could imagine if you want it. They got about, you know, and they got family packs, big packs for the family and everybody to eat. I'll give them a call, like I said, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, 704-276-1155. All right, Smokey. Today, on the board, go over our broadcast schedule.
All right, for today, August the 19th here on KTC Broadcasting. We've got to flip the page. It's a busy month for us here with the World Series in football. Tonight at 6:30 p.m. on WCSL only, it's the NRA Bass Pro Shops Bristol night race at Bristol. And, of course, only 3 races until the playoffs start. And something wild might happen at Bristol, Tennessee tonight. On 2 p.m. on WOHS and WLON, it's the second preseason game for the Carolina Panthers as they take on the Tennessee Titans. As Kevin said, if this was a regular season game, it would be real interesting as Tennessee's looking to be real good this year. Also tonight at 7 o'clock on WOHS and WLON, it's the Cincinnati Reds taking on the Atlanta Braves. The Braves will be at home as it'll start at 7 o'clock.
All right, Smoke, you guys, the Panthers, 2 o'clock today, is that what you said?
Yes, it'll be about an hour pregame show. Kickoff will be about at 3 o'clock, and that's really probably the worst time to start the game. It's going to be real hot there in Nashville today.
Well, everybody, it looks like, you know, watching and listening, everybody reading the camp notes. You know, this time of year, every team is excited about their teams. And if you ask most fans what their records would be, and then you added them all up, there probably wouldn't be too many teams that think their team's going to have losing records. So everybody's excited. The Panthers are especially excited right now about their new running back, Smoke. What's the news and notes on your? What was his name? Carolina's Medical Center. Was that his new nickname?
Christian McCaffrey. He looks to be very fast, and that is something, you know, the closest thing we've seen to that in terms of speed is probably D'Angelo Williams, who hasn't been with the team for about 3 or 4 years at this point. So I think first year we're going to see a lot of split. You know, they haven't shown much yet, which I think they should be doing. The first preseason game, we only saw Christian McCaffrey just go straight between the tackles, and he averaged about over 4 yards a carry. So, I mean, that was pretty good. You know, it's kind of tough right now because Cam Newton's still not out there. They're really being cautious with him, but it does sound like that Cam Newton will be playing in the dress rehearsal game next week against Jacksonville.
Well, we're looking right now. I was pulling up that right now. I wanted to get to that, and it said that he threw in some 7-on-7 drills.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't participate in team drills this week on Wednesday and Thursday. He won't play Saturdays 3 p.m. and it said that he may not be ready for the opener. They're kind of scared about that. So, I mean, are you guys okay with Derek Anderson? I mean, for years everyone's been saying that, you know, he's the second best or he's the best backup in football, but you know that's been 4 years now.
Right. And
so you know, last year he actually struggled a little bit. So how is that situation there with the rest of the division looking as strong as it does too?
It's kind of scary with Anderson starting because last year he did not look good. I mean, you were at that game against the Buccaneers. It was,
and we saw their second-round kicker. The only team he made field goals against, I think, was in that game, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that's really his only Roberto Aguayo's only moment in the NFL. I mean, he just got cut. He's now with the Bears now, but yeah, not really working out. Minus that moment against Carolina for Mr. Aguayo and the Buccaneers, but. Yeah, it'd be kind of scary. Now, I'm not as concerned if he starts only one game because to start the season off because I feel like they should take care of business against the 49ers. But as the season goes along, especially when you get into October, that is kind of scary because you start off October with the Patriots. But, yeah, I mean, it feels weird because they're actually being very cautious with him, but they weren't being cautious with him last year when he had a torn rotator cuff.
That's what I want to know. Like, what is exactly going on here to where they're even questioning he's not going to be here for the opener? Mm-hmm. Like, at first it was the start of training camp. Yep. Then it was the first game. Now we're talking about he might not even play in a game, and he's just doing 7-on-7s this week and barely practicing. Terry, what do you think? Are they hiding something? I mean, was the surgery successful? Is he just not ready? Is everything okay? I mean, there's a lot of questions at this point, right?
It is, and I don't know. When I watched the Carolina Panthers and them talk to him, I know Coach Rivera said the other day during practice it was just plain terrible. Nobody could catch passes, et cetera, et cetera. And, and he says you got to be great every day in the NFL, and he's correct there. But if you're like Derek Anderson and you're sitting here and you know what, I'm not going to end up being the starter. I mean, that's how you're looking at this because we keep prolonging Cam's comeback. Well, will Cam be able to come back in week 1? Then I've been the first round snaps this whole preseason, but when it gets to game 1, then I'm back on the bench and Cam comes in. Even the guys they've got backing up people, I don't know. Carolina right now, to me, is just, and how would you put this? I mean, not showing everything for sure. I mean, which we know that with Cam not out there on the field. But even at other positions on their team, I don't think that they've got the right guys in. And are you going at preseason in the right manner, Smoke, is what I'm asking you? Or is this going to be another year just like it was last year when you start way behind?
Now, here's the difference. The defense looks a whole lot better, and I think we got Bradbury and Worley, who had another year, who's now in their second year, and they were thrown to the Wolves last year, last year at defensive back, and I feel like by the end of the year they were really starting to pick it up. So I think the defense will be very good at the least. That might help them throughout the first weeks because, I'm not expecting Cam to be his best in the first month or so, which is a problem because with the whole torn rotator cuff. But you got to remember, he's still ahead of schedule of what Andrew Luck is, and he had the surgery 2 months before Cam Newton did, which is still astonishing. We haven't even seen Andrew Luck.
Do they have the same surgery?
Yes, but I think maybe the difference is Andrew Luck had it for 2 years before having the surgery. I don't know, and I feel like the Colts have done such a bad job over the past few years. But that still astonishes me how Andrew Luck hasn't gotten out there, but Cam Newton has, and Cam Newton had it a whole 2 months later.
Well, just from playing baseball and throwing football, playing quarterback, and you need time to get your arm into shape. Anybody that's ever played baseball will tell you go out there and just start. If you don't start throwing a month before or two before baseball starts, if you're playing multiple sports, if you're playing year round, you can keep your arm kind of warm and ready. But just for me, during basketball season, I had to start throwing baseballs during the middle of the season. As soon as Christmas was, I'm playing basketball till February, March. I lapped over baseball season. I couldn't just come out there and throw from shortstop. My arm would have fell off, and it still hurt the first week, and I still couldn't get it quite in shape. So it kind of worries me. That's where I think maybe he's having some pains, and it's not as strong as it needs to be. Is what I'm getting at. And once you've thrown and you start getting a pain in your arm, and that's what you do and that's what you do. That's your job. You really don't want to throw at all, and you just want your arm to just rest, and because you're scared that you're going to hurt it.
And you actually nailed it on the head because the first 4 or 5 days he was kind of going full go during practice, and then he reported a soreness in his shoulder. So that's why they've really just halted it completely. Which I'm hoping it's just that they've learned from their mistakes on last year, letting them play those last 3 weeks. And clearly in that Tampa Bay game, you could tell it was evident, especially after hearing about the surgery. But, I mean, it just...
Well, my concern with him has always been his accuracy. Now, coming into this now, without throwing the whole year in the offseason, you're supposed to be changing some offense and working to throw in more shorter passes and dumping it to McCaffrey. His throwing motion, I would guess, just by looking at the way he leans back and throws off his back foot and doesn't square his hips a lot, That's part of the problem of why his shoulder is the way it is. Just from that's an amateur throwing observation for just his mechanics. And I know they wanted to work on that this year even. So the time that he did get to work on that where he's not throwing, I'm really worried about if they're even mentioning Smoke on ESPN that Derek Anderson may start the opener, you have to question that. There's a lot going on there, I think, and they got to get that settled. Looking across also on the Panthers, says Gano is winning the battle right now over Butker, but Gano they could save $3.5 million and give it to Greg Olsen or someone else if they cut him. So there's something there that they may work on with that.
And I think it would be a mistake. Really, I know Gano's not the best kicker, but if you give it to a freaking rookie, it's gonna be a big step back. I feel like, and it's gonna make your special teams a liability. And you don't have to get the Greg Olsen deal done this year. I mean, he's signed through 2018, so I mean, you don't need to worry about it. I know he's basically
from the Panthers side. He came in and y'all ripped up the contract for him.
Yeah.
That's what he wanted, and y'all gave him that deal, and now he ended up having 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons. Like, well, maybe I should get paid more.
And it's weird how everyone's behind his back, standing by him, but he's doing the same thing Josh Norman did, and people complained when Josh Norman did this.
He's way much older though. Too.
Yeah, I know.
And he from the Panther side, they say we paid you your money.
Well, don't worry about it. If we don't want you, we'll just get rid of you.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly what Carolina. Yeah, well, they got rid of that GM, so yeah, I don't know how Hurney will handle that situation. It's going to be different, and with Hurney now as the acting GM, every movie you make, like, is he doing it to be different than Gettleman? Is he worried about what he used to be in the fan? What's the moves that he's making? Right now there's really no moves to make for the all that stuff's done. But going forward, you have a lot to think about with that. All right, Terry, Dallas Cowboys, Ezekiel Elliott supposed to be out 6 games. They've appealed. And
that's a good question. I've had a lot of people who's asked me that same question.
I didn't even ask the question, but there you go.
But it's going to be. I already know what the answer is.
I almost did.
I know what the answer is. I mean, because Calvin said he thinks it'll be cut to 4. I said I think it's cut to 2. Because you still haven't come up with efficient evidence to prove that all this did happen. But is he going to serve? Yeah, he's got to serve something. I mean, he's not going to come out of this scot-free where he goes right back in playing game 1.
I would guess not. So as far as everybody's talking about the Cowboy situation, I believe that he was the best player on the team last year. I also believe that they have the best running back depth in the NFL. It's ridiculous what they got. McFadden's got 1,000 the year before, and he's one of the fastest. Still one of the fastest running backs in the NFL. Alfred Morris ain't bad at all.
No.
So the thing about it is what it does, Zeke, the way he was different from McFadden. McFadden's problem might even be faster than Zeke. But Zeke's explosion and power is different than McFadden. He goes down, he's harder to take him down. So he's more like, if you had McFadden and Alfred Morris, had a baby, they would have Zeke. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying on that? So, like, it's a different back. It's going to take the explosion away. How's that going to affect the other teams, in Dak? But, with the Cowboys this year, and, same with the Panthers, I think it's all about defense right now. The Panthers are going to have to – Panthers got a double-edged sword. They're in a division where everybody's going to score 30, and they're going to need to score a lot. So they're going to need to – their offense has got a lot of questions of Cam and McCaffrey, but then their defense has got questions because they're going to have to hold teams under 30 because of the teams they're playing.
Yeah.
Dallas's defense is, what's going on with the secondary. Can they – last year they were 5th in scoring. And we talk about that defense. They were 1 in rushing, 5th in scoring. That's a recipe for success. They went 13-3. That defense, now you got no Zeke, is that defense has got to step up, right? If they're going to have the same success as they did last year.
Well, yeah, the defense is going to have to step up, but I don't think they're going to lose that much on offense. That's what. No, I don't. I think the offense will be. I think they're going to be
because
fine.
Of the running back situation. I think the running backs are okay. Let's say they score. I think they're right at 27 or 30 or 28 a game last year.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say Zeke's worth the 3 points, an extra 3 points on that, so it's down to 25. Now the defense, instead of giving up, if they were giving up 24, now the other team's in field goal range. You see what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So if the defense got worse from 5th, how much is that gap that Dallas is going to have to close? That's the difference they got to worry. I'm worried about the defense. I really am.
Yeah, me too. Because I think offensive-wise, I think Dallas is going to be able to score for anybody. But then we always say defense wins championships. So, if Dallas' defense can stay pretty much where it was last year, maybe 3 more points a game. But then people say, well, that's what wins a lot of games in the NFL because a lot of games come down to 3 points or less.
About most of them.
Yeah. I mean, so all of a sudden you're either tied or you lose a game on account of it, But I still think Dallas is going to be okay, even with the running backs they got. I had them if he had 6 games, they'd still go 4-2. When he comes back, I think they'll go 9-1. I mean, that's how much of a difference I think he'll make for them.
Terry's high on the Cowboys, of course. I'm a little mediocre on them. I think they could go anywhere from 7-9 to 11-5, and none of that would surprise me. Just depending on injuries and other situations.
Well, and I think the thing that needs to be mentioned is Dallas kind of gutted their secondary this past offseason.
That's what I was concerned with.
Barry Church, who I think was pretty good last year.
Barry Church got an interception the other night, Terry, against Jameis Winston. Did you see that?
Yes.
We saw Andre come down the hall the other day talking about Jameis. There was an article that said Jameis could be the MVP, and he hadn't showed up about it. And I was watching that game, and I don't know, Jameis threw up one of his Jameis passes. He was almost on his back, just threw it straight up in the air.
Yeah, Andre.
And Barry Church picked it off, and honest to goodness, Smoke, I said, well, that might be the first pick I've seen Barry Church ever pick off. It's been a while. I mean, I don't know if he ever picked one off in Dallas.
He still can't get rid of a Cowboy. Even when
Jaguars may cut Blake Bortles if Henne wins the job. That's news. Kaepernick can't get on a team, but the Smithsonian's taking some of Kaepernick's items. We've got all kind of protests, but the Jaguars, that's nuts down there.
Someone was already a Jaguars fan that had a custom Kaepernick jersey at the game.
Cutler got his first action the other day. Got slammed down one time, got up and gave up the thumbs up for the crowd. He was, I think he's just cashing that check, man.
Yeah.
He just seems like
get $10 million.
He's so happy with that. I'll just take the 10, man. Let's go. I think he seems to me like he's playing right now, Terry, in a flag football league for fun. Almost like, just don't hit me in the head. I'm just going to go out here and sling this ball around for a little bit. I got a beautiful wife, and so I
mean, you saw what he was doing in the off season, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the photos. So I mean, he was just chilling, and then he got this call.
Yeah, he's had naked butt shots, Terry, on the internet of himself, and that now he's playing in Miami. I guess being in Miami and playing in Miami. If Buffalo would have called, he might not have come back. But Miami calls, I can go down there probably for a couple months. I'm sure the wife won't mind it and all that. But all right, we got to take another break. We'll be back in a minute. We got to talk NASCAR, some Major League Baseball. We still got some high school football scores to give you back in just a minute. We'll be back with the scores if you just missed those. Just a few minutes. KTCBroadcasting.com.
I'm Lon Helton, inviting you to join me as I count down the week's top 30 with my co-host Justin Moore, who just became the father of a bouncing baby boy.
You should have saw me trying to change the first diaper after only changing little girls' diapers for years. But he's doing good, man.
That's Justin Moore this week on Country Countdown USA.
Country Countdown USA with Lon Helton. Wednesday afternoons at 1 o'clock on Big O Country, 1590 AM WCSL, and online at KTCBroadcasting.com. The Carolina Panther Family Game Giveaway is back again this year. Someone will win 4 tickets to a Carolina Panther football game, a free night's lodging at the Hampton Inn in Gastonia, free Carolina Panther t-shirts and caps, and $100 in fun money. Register with no obligation to buy at Central Drugstore, downtown Bessemer City, Ferguson's Ace Hardware, Highway 150 East in Cherryville, at Wesley Automotive, Highway 16 in Denver, at Amity Finance on East Ozark Avenue in Gastonia, at Flooring America on Slater Street in Kings Mountain, at Carolina Hardware Pool and Garden Center on the Reedsville Road in Lincoln, at Full Throttle Power Sports on Indian Walk in Lowell, at Basic Finance Company on East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby, and at Shelby Vacuum on South Lafayette Street in Shelby. The drawing will be held Friday, August 25th at 8 o'clock on the Boss and Big O Country. Register to win the Carolina Panther Family Game Giveaway today.
It's time to come out and play at the newly renovated Lincoln Country Club. Since 1946, the Lincoln Country Club has been challenging golfers. Ask about special membership opportunities. Enjoyed a new swimming pool, and the restaurant just can't be beat. Practice your driving on the driving range, too. For your tee time, call 704-735-1382 for the Lincoln Country Club, located on 2052 Country Club Road in Lincolnton, and online at lincolncountryclub.net.
Honey, I am officially on break.
Huh?
This cold McDonald's McCafe drink is really chilling me out.
Oh, me too. I'm officially on break from worrying about the weird sound coming from the garbage disposal.
And I'm officially on break from having to think about cleaning out the garage.
You've been thinking about that for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, it's about time I had a break from thinking about it.
For a limited time, get every size soft drink or Mickey D's sweet tea for $1. Or a small McCafe frappe smoothie or shake for just $2. Prices and participation may vary. A la carte only.
Summer sales event is underway at Renato Cadillac Buick GMC in Shelby. Come in now and get 0% financing for 72 months on the 2017 GMC Sierra 1500 and the GMC Acadia SLT. But that's not all. Renato Cadillac Buick GMC in Shelby has 0% financing for 72 months on the 2017 Buick Enclave and the 2017 Buick Envision Preferred. Come in now for all the details during the summer's best sales event. Renato Cadillac Buick GMC, 4423 East Dixon Boulevard in Shelby.
Welcome back, Mitchem's Kitchen Sports Talk. Me and Terry's just in here counting Super Bowls on this most ridiculous list we've ever seen in our lives. ESPN, they're the kiss of death for you folks. They put out a list of the top. There's only 8 teams, of course, came in last place last year, and they ranked them with best chance to actually go from worst to first, which happens about once a year in the NFL. Number 1 on that list, Terry, the Carolina Panthers have a 35% chance to win the division, according to ESPN. Now, there's only 4 teams in the division. That means there's some teams with less than 25% chance, including the 7-9 Saints, who in Drew Brees' career has never been worse than 7-9. They just added 5 draft picks to the defense and Adrian Peterson. So they're going 7-9 at least, and they added Adrian Peterson. Let's say they go 8-8 at worst.
I want you just to go down.
Then you got Bucks and Falcons in that, right?
Number
so
1,
there's the Panthers.
Carolina Panthers. They don't even know who the quarterback's going to be. They don't even know whether Cam's going to be able to start. So they're in limbo.
Here's number 2 on their list. The Jacksonville Jaguars.
Again, we got another team that has no idea who's going to be quarterback there. I mean, you know,
second best chance to make that. Well, they're going to win the division, Terry.
You know, we're talking about a guy who come from Miami, Henning over there. That they say he's going to be it because the other night when I was watching Bortles was missing people that was wide open, throwing too short.
Like, I don't understand. I saw some of those, and you're right. I don't understand how you make it to the NFL and throw those passes that he was throwing. It was just terrible. Like, I'm sitting there watching. I'm just watching the timing of it, and he just looks off.
It was almost like you're playing and you throw it, and you're like, "Oh God, I hope it gets her! I hope it gets her!" And you're jumping up and down, you know, and then it comes up short.
Now third. Now there's only 8 teams, so you can't really say, "Hey, great pick there, ESPN." Third, I guess so there's 8 teams that are the first to last. It's Panthers, Jaguars. Third is the Chargers. Eagles. Now this is what me and Terry was talking about, Smuggles. Look at these 8 teams that come in last and how many Super Bowls they've won. Only San Francisco is the only one that's really made a lot of noise. Panthers, none. Jaguars, none. Chargers, none. Eagles, 1.
None.
Bears, no. Eagles won 83. No, they didn't. They lost 83. Eagles, none. Bears, 1. Then the 49ers won 6. Right? 6? 5. Steelers won 6. Browns, none, and Jets.
Yeah, the Browns
won. I was getting Jets and Eagles mixed up. The green with the championship. Yeah, Eagles never won nothing. Jets won 1. So on that whole list, besides San Francisco, there's 2 NFL titles on that list. So same old teams in some of these spots. I think the Eagles probably have the best chance to go from worst to first in that division because last year at one point, weren't they like 4-2, 5-2, or something like that?
They got off to a hot start.
They had a good defense, and the quarterback's got another year running. They've added some weapons. Dallas has questions on the defense. The Giants have questions on defense, and the Redskins have all kinds of questions. So so I think the East is going to be a pretty good division. The Bears have, I would say, no shot at all. 49ers, no shot at all. The Browns have better than the rest of them, but they still don't have a shot, I don't think, getting past the Steelers unless Big Ben gets hurt. That division's pretty bad all around. It
Cleveland's still going to finish last.
I don't think so. I feel
Baltimore?
They'll still finish below Baltimore.
You're crazy, Terry.
I actually think the Browns will finish ahead of Baltimore this year.
Yeah.
Call me crazy.
Who else in that division? Pittsburgh and
Cincinnati.
It might be ahead of Cincinnati, too. But Cincinnati probably end up winning that. But they'll be ahead of Baltimore, I think.
Pittsburgh hopes they get better because in the old days, it used to be Cleveland against Pittsburgh, and the dog pound meant something. Now, the dog pound now is like a bunch of little puppies. Every one of them running to hide somewhere.
Well, they had a quarterback since Bernie Kosar. They have not had a quarterback. Think about some of these franchises that hadn't had a good quarterback in so long. It's just
Dolphins.
Sad. All right. Let's get out the NFL. Switch over before this next break. Smoke. Let's talk a little NASCAR real quick. This weekend, tonight at Bristol, right?
Yes, and of course they've put down these sticky elements to make the bottom line more usable since they're stupid enough to repave this track about 10 years ago.
Yep.
And we're looking possibly at a Kyle Busch sweep since he wants to take basically he wants to dominate the Xfinity Series and Truck Series to make people think that's impressive.
Why do they not wreck him in the especially at Bristol?
I don't know.
If you're in the Xfinity Series, why would you not put him in the wall?
I don't know.
I mean, why?
It's annoying.
Why would you not like? You just talk about that sweep. I'm like, there's no way you're gonna sweep at Bristol because somebody's gonna you're gonna run into a wreck, or B, someone's gonna wreck you. There's no way Keselowski and them's letting him sweep at Bristol.
Well,
I would imagine
he's already done it before. That's the crazy thing.
That's terrible.
Yeah, he was the first guy that ever won all 3 races.
If the truck
one place, and that was Bristol.
The truck guys and the Xfinity guys should wreck him to begin with at Bristol. And then if he wins too, then it should be on the NASCAR guys to wreck that person. I don't care if it's Kyle Busch or whoever does it. I mean, we all have our feelings about that, and they argue back and forth on the bottom line. Like, and the Cup guys will say, "Well, you won't have sponsors." Yes, you will. You will get the sponsors. These guys will get the names. They will get the rides. It'll be cheaper for the sponsors. They will. It ain't going to change. Kyle Busch acts like he's putting butts in the seats in the stands. That would be different. If there were people coming to the stands and sitting in the stands and selling hot dogs, to me, that would be different. But if it ain't changing anything for TV, only thing the money is going is straight to the teams for the sponsors and not to NASCAR through that.
Well,
so they're wrong on that, and they need to fix it.
And, of course, with the sponsors, I mean, you saw Brad Keselowski Racing. They're going to have to fold after this year, and they've been one of the best truck teams in the area in the whole truck series. And, you talk about the attendance. It's gotten so bad for the Xfinity and truck series that they're having to make kids 12 and under go in free.
Well, why would you, as a sponsor one of the non-Cup guys knowing that he's not going to win?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the non-Cup guys have to tell the other Cup. Well, yeah, you have a sponsor, but I don't. And because I'm not, all these other racing leagues across the nation and world have sponsors. Okay, they will get the sponsors. There's a price for everything. They will get it. You have to let those guys run. All right, Smoke. That's my high horse. Let's get back to the action night. Bristol tonight on the schedule again, right?
Yes, that'll be tonight at actually 6 o'clock. Coverage will start on WCSL 1590 AM.
Is it a 7:30 start?
Something around that time. Yes, it'll be PRN on the coverage for the race since it's a Bruton's Smith on track. So we got 3 races remaining until the playoffs begin. So we'll have a break in the action next week, and then we'll have the Labor Day weekend race at Darlington, and then it'll be Richmond. Then we'll be going to the playoffs.
Yeah, and Smoke on this race here, and you're starting to see the younger guys starting to take control of things. 3 of the top 4, and Casey Kane is young, but Eric Jones, Kyle Larson, Casey Kane, Chase Elliott, your top 4 guys to start this race.
Casey Kane drives the ARP car now, Terry.
No.
How old is he now, Smoke?
He's 36, but he looks like 26.
Well, I mean, he's the oldest guy on there.
I know.
Take them other 3, they're young.
Casey Kane is one of the oldest drivers in NASCAR now, Terry. Is that weird?
Yes.
Yeah, think of that.
Very.
Casey Kane is one of the oldest guys. Jimmy's a grandpa. He's looking like Richard Petty out there. Eric Jones on the pole. Kyle Larson on row 1, row 2. Casey Kane, Chase Elliott. Kenseth and Truex on the next row. Hamlin, Logano, Boyer, and Blaney, McMurray, and Suarez. Terry?
You have to keep on going way on down till you find Junior.
31st for Junior, and he's got to win to get in the finals. He's down here with people that aren't real fast, and people like Kevin Harvick, and I saw Jimmy down here earlier that don't really. He's behind Danica Patrick in the qualifying. These people, there's a lot of people down here that aren't that good, and the ones that are already pretty much qualified for everything and don't need too much. So, I guess they're struggling right now.
Yeah, and you got to get off to a good start because you're at Bristol. Within 5, 6, 7 laps, you're going to have an opportunity to be lapped.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the worst part about
this.
When you're starting
at 31st, yeah, he's going to have to get up and go. He's got Yaley on the road with him, I think. Harvick and Amarola are right in front of him, and then, like you said, Patrick's 4 or 5 rows up in front of him with Kurt Busch. Excuse me, sorry, right in the microphone there. Jimmy Johnson starting 21st. He's just going for a ride right now for this one. Ain't no point going out there wrecking cars. But Jones on the pole, Larson, Kane, and Elliott. As far as the standings go, Smoke, how we going on that, and who's on the outside looking in?
Outside looking in right now, Clint Boyer is now 31 points back. He's kind of falling back, so he's kind of in that area where he needs to get a win and probably can't make it on points unless something changes, and then everyone else really needing a win. Joey Logano keeps on falling back. Eric Jones, who's on the pole, needs a win. He got tied his career
best. Is Logano in right now?
No, he had that encumbered win, so that's really starting to rear its ugly head towards Logano right now.
But I want to ask you something, Smoke. You speaking of that, and I know this is the first time that I've ever seen them where that win does not mean anything. NASCAR needs to go to that because look how hard it's been for him now to get himself in when they took that thing away.
Yeah,
Terry's been on that soapbox a long time about that. You got to punish those teams in a certain way to make them where you want to. You can't have Monday come around and say, "Hey guys, y'all watched the race for 3 or 4 hours yesterday. It didn't mean anything because this guy won the race." And
but you'll still get to keep that win and get on in.
And knock somebody else out because there's my soapbox. I don't want you to knock them out in the playoffs. And now you got some guy knocking somebody out that didn't deserve to knock somebody out. Let's see. Monster Cup standings: Truex Courston first, Larson, Busch, Harvick, Keselowski, Hamlin, Elliott, McMurray, Kenseth, Bowyer, Johnson, and Blaney are the top 12. Logano 13. Busch 14, Newman 15, and Eric Jones 16.
In the playoff standings right now, Chase Elliott's got a pretty good gap at 62. McMurray a little bit less at 52, and then Matt Kenseth's got a 31-point advantage. Of course, Boyer 31 points back. Logano 98 points back. Jones 130, and Daniel Suarez 139. So those are really the four that would have the best shot of making it in general. Of course, most of them would need a win. Clint might be able to make it in on points, but he needs Kenseth to really struggle, and both of them had their struggles last week.
And the main thing about this is Kenseth, is 31 points up, right?
Yes.
So he's 31 points up, but if Junior wins, then Kenseth, you're out. That's how much that 31 point means nothing if somebody else wins that's on the outside.
Yeah. So, I mean, if someone wins like an Eric Jones, let's say he wins from the pole tonight, that'll bump Kenseth out, put McMurray at the final spot. I mean, this is the first time where we've really gotten close to 16 drivers winning before the playoffs.
All right, Smoke, we got to take a break, right?
Yes.
All right, got to get out of here on NASCAR tonight at Bristol. Listen on WCSL 1590 AM. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Calvin Hastings, and I'd like to invite you to join Milton Baker and the Boss in Big O Country for a live remote broadcast this Saturday, August 19th from 11 to 1 at the General Store and Farm Supply on Long Shoals Road in Lincoln. The General Store and Farm Supply is celebrating its 1-year anniversary, and it's going to be big day this Saturday. Coming out for door prizes, music, free hot dogs, hamburgers, popcorn, ice cream, and more. Bring the kids and your camera to enjoy the petting farm. The General Store and Farm Supply will also have for sale a dozen farm fresh eggs for just $1, plus fresh produce and goats, chickens, and rabbits for sale. Come out to celebrate at the General Store and Farm Supply, 1034 Long Shoals Road in the former Whitey's Fish Camp. Call 704-214-2532 for more details and like us on Facebook. Remember the first anniversary celebration this Saturday. Come enjoy a real good time.
The Southern Women's Show is more than a show. It's 3 fabulous days of fashion, food, and fun. Let the shopping and celebration begin on August 25th through 27th at the Charlotte Convention Center. Meet Olympic gymnast Lori Hernandez, see the firefighters on stage, and get a makeover in the Belk Pavilion. Sponsored by Food Lion, Chevrolet, and the Charlotte Observer. Discount tickets at Walgreens. Visit southernwomenshow.com for details.
Now you can earn 1,000 points for every night you stay at the Hampton Inn. It's part of the Hampton Inn's Grand Nights promotion. Your points will add up to unforgettable experiences. Find out more by visiting your nearest Hampton Inn. You'll always come back with a tale to share. Start turning points into stories worth sharing. Visit the Hampton Inn on Remount Road in Gastonia and start earning your points today.
No doubt about it, when you go to the Parkway House in Cherryville, you'll come back, and you'll come back soon. Be sure to check out their daily breakfast and lunch specials. They're changing every day. All your breakfast favorites with down-home cooking, both for lunch and dinner. Bring the family out to the Parkway House Family Restaurant, 1011 East Church Street in Cherryville. Open Monday through Friday, 6:30 a.m. till 9:30 p.m. Saturdays, 7 till 10. Sundays, 7 till 9:30 p.m. The Parkway House in Cherryville.
Check out what the Green Meadows Golf Club on Kelly Road in Mount Holly has to offer. On Wednesday, you can play all day for $28, including cart and green fee. And ladies, Wednesday is your day too. Ladies play and ride all day for only $15. To make your tee time, call the Green Meadows Golf Club at 704-827-9264. You'll love it. The Green Meadows Golf Club, located at 957 Kelly Road in Mount Holly. Come see what they have to offer.
That's some good walking down the hall music for Steve Robay. You could have kept that going for a second, Terry. What's that? Name that band.
I have no clue.
God, I knew it. I looked at Smokes and he don't know.
You're right.
Led Zeppelin, Terry. You ever heard of them?
Yeah, I've heard of them.
There you go. Led Zeppelin in the house on the boss.
Credit to Farsview. They played that during warm-ups last night, and I'm like, nice job. I commend you.
You can hear more Led Zeppelin on the boss. Maybe later today. Steve will get jamming sometimes. You never know what he's going to play. He'll play some Marvin Gaye, some Led Zeppelin. He'll play a little Beatles. He'll play some Temptations. He'll even play Sinead O'Connor if you leave him in there long enough. And the Bee Gees. Yeah, he will play some Bee Gees and get up and do some dancing. That's when it gets nuts in there. Welcome back, Saturday Sports Talk, Mitchem's Kitchen. We got some scores to give you in just a moment. Real quick, American Legion World Series, want to wrap up. We had our coverage, all 15 games, had a great week. And Nevada wins the championship over Nebraska. Smoke was at that game, 2-1 game. Him and Terry did a game earlier in the week, and we had a great time out there. I want to thank everyone out the Legion, out at Shelby High School and the World Series for letting us come out there and broadcast the games. And because not everybody can get certain channels and certain things. You don't got internet or web or TV coverage. You can get on the internet or radio and check us out and listen to Terry and everybody else. We got Terry everywhere, I tell you what. All right, Andre's picks this week. He went 15-8. We mentioned that last night. You can check him out in the WhatsApp Shopper right every 2 weeks. And that, if you want his picks every week, you can check out online at whatsappshopper.com. We'll post the links as well. Follow the scores at KTC Broadcasting, hashtag KTC Scores. Terry, real quick news and notes. We don't have time really to talk about Major League Baseball. We'll talk about each of our teams this week. Smokes, Red Sox got lucky and swept the Cardinals. You guys are pretty hot right now, though.
Yeah.
8-2 in the last 10. Is that what I saw? Or am I right about that?
That's something around that.
And then, the Cardinals are still 7-3. They've won about 12 or 13 in the last 15 or 16 or so. So they're still hot. I was looking away. It's fading away. The one game ahead of first place. And Terry, the other thing, and I got the wrong standings here. The run differential. has suddenly jumped up to plus 50 something, and they're right there at the Cubs of run differential and a game and a half back. So we got us a pennant race in the NL Central. How you guys looking chasing those Indians?
Well, we kind of 5.5, 6.5 back after losing last night 10-1. We sent Kennedy to the mound against Kluber. We should have known better than that. I mean, Vargas would have been a better thing for him, but Vargas is going to go for Kansas City today. So we'll try to bounce back and get that game back that we lost. But for us, it's between us and the Angels and Minnesota all fighting for it, and I always look at the loss column. Because if we got 60 losses and they got 59, that means we're
Steve, you're on the radio there.
Forgot my phone.
Steve.
Wanted to let you know.
Steve, you're on the radio.
Oh, I'm on the, okay.
Yeah. He's just making sure somebody else knows.
Somebody knows that Steve forgot his phone. We're going to announce to everybody. If you need to get in touch with Steve Rebay, call him at the office. But if you see his phone out and about, bring it to him, I guess. Okay. Well, I guess that'll wrap up our Major League Baseball coverage. Let's do our scores and get out of here, Terry. You got our scores last night. Every Friday night, folks, scores. Our place to be. At KTC Broadcasting on Twitter. Hashtag KTC Scores. We got our tweet deck going for all of our teams. We have a Twitter feed for all 19 teams in our area. We also, during the game, we have a studio. We keep our studio feed live, and we try to update the scores about every 15, 20 minutes or so there. On there, it's tough to keep them all going at the same time. There's so many scores going, guys. We can't keep it up 100% on time accurate. But about every 15 minutes or so, we get them updated, and on there you can watch the scores go by. So if you're watching a game, say a Crest game, and you don't want to get over to Twitter, you can on the YouTube. You can click on our YouTube page on KTC, just pull up the scores and get all of them in one quick shot. All right, guys, scores last night. KTC Broadcasting had a great night.
First off, Clover, South Carolina beats Ashbrook 56-26. East Gaston beats North Gaston 34-31. Hunter Huss beats Patton on the road 49-20. Forest View beats East Lincoln 7-6. And Stuart Kramer takes care of business, beating Lincolnton 40-7.
West Lincoln defeated Drone last night 43-6. It was Bessemer City over Cherryville 38-7. Highland Tech 34, Christ the King 12, Mountain Island Charter 42, Franklin Christian South Carolina 6, Alexander Central 28, Burns 23.
South Point beat Crest 22-14 almost at midnight. Shelby beats Freedom 14-7. Union Academy beats Hickory Grove Christian 56-7. Pine Lake Prep beats Northside Christian Academy 14-6. Thomas Jefferson beats the Carolina Wildcats 34-8. And West Caldwell beats East Burke 35-0.
RS Central over McDowell 20-14. East Rutherford 34, South Stanley 2. It was Maiden 37, Fred T. Ford 14. Bandy's 42, St. Stephen's 40 in 2 overtimes. Statesville 27, Hickory 26 in overtime. And the number 1 team in the KTC poll, Newton Conover, a 51-0 win over Bunker Hill.
I was about to say congratulations. I'm going to do our top 10 real quick. Top 10, congratulations. Newton Conover, number 1. We had 10 wins last night, Terry. Newton Conover, number 1. West Lincoln, 2. Forest View, 3. Stuart Kramer, 4. Bessemer City, 5. Shelby, 6. And congratulations to Highland Tech, our number 7 team in the power poll. Go take a picture of the board and make sure we save this. Number 7 team in our power poll. Big win last night, 34-12. Over Christ King. South Point 8, Huss 9, East Gaston 10. Kings Mountain and North Lincoln did not play last night, so they'll get a chance to take a crack out of our top 10 next week. They're sitting at 11-12, ready to jump in as our other 3, 6, 7 teams lost. Next week on the broadcast, Cherryville Ironman at Chase, WCSL 1590 AM. South Point at Lincoln on WLON 1050 AM. And the Carolina Wildcats at North Lincoln Knights on LincolnCounty.com game of the week. 2 games to watch next week. The Crest Chargers will be at TC Roberson. You can watch that live on YouTube and KTC. And, of course, the Shelby Golden Lions will be hosting AC Reynolds Rockets. Both of those games on KTC. We'll start off with Shelby and AC on WHS 1390 AM, 101.5 FM, and then if that turned into a blowout for any reason whatsoever, or last night, or rain delay or anything, we'll switch over to Crest if TC Roberson like we need to. We switched about 3 or 4 games last night. We had Burns on. We had all the Cleveland County games on at one time last night, Steve. We did a great job in the studio. All right, Terry, any more final thoughts on week 1 before we got to go?
No, that's it. Waiting on week 2.
Waiting on week 2. That's all Terry is. Buys next week real quick. Burns, East Lincoln, Highland Tech, and West Lincoln have buys next week. We'll see you guys next week on Mitchem's Kitchen Sports Talk and KTC Friday nights.
Come in for all the details, and chances are you'll be the next satisfied customer from SR Auto Sales. 417 South Post Road in Shelby. Online at srautosales.com. Open 9 to 6 Monday through Friday, 10 to 2 on